Michael, I'm psyched. I'm super psyched today. I'm ready. I'm able. I'm willing.
For KY.
Well, mostly because, okay, this is really dark. Hey, everyone, welcome to the Rage Select Podcast. I'm Rage Select. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mike.
I'm going to tell you a dark story, and then I'm going to lighten it up with a light anecdote.
Sure.
And then we're going to talk about the video games. So last week, you knew this. My organs were hurting. So one day last week, I woke up, and it was just like I had this pain like all around the bottom of my back, and I was pretty sure I was like 20%. Maybe it's, you know, when you have a pain and you go on the internet and the internet's just like, it's cancer. And you're like, are you sure, internet? There's probably other things inside of me that are maybe not cancer. And it's just like, nah, cancer. You got to go to you're dying.
Let's make a cancer, bro.
Put your affairs in order, buddy, because you're out of here. I thought it might have been my kidneys because I had this like kind of pain on the left and right side. And because I'm not a dumb, stupid, moron, idiot, fool, I stopped drinking. And I've actually mostly this week stopped drinking. There was one day where I drank and then I was like, oh, boo, I don't like this. Which is different from drinking kind of every single day, which is something that Jeff's been doing.
Yes.
It turns out that I just threw my back out. Oh. And so my lower back, I like had to lay on a heating pad for a couple of days and everything went back to normal. But for the first time in 2019, it's like I've actually slept instead of just passing out at the end of every day. So I could kind of like feel my cognitive faculties returning. So anyway, that's real dark, right?
It's fairly dark.
It's pretty dark.
It could get darker.
It could probably. So let's lighten it up because last week I was trying everything I could, like just to keep myself occupied so that I didn't go to the store and buy beer.
Uh-huh.
And so one of the things that I did, I don't know, Michael, have you ever baked cookies before in your life?
Not in like 10 years.
Okay. I have baked cookies roughly 4 times in my life over the last few months. One time I brought them to one of the One of Us gatherings.
That's right.
And they were like these big old bricks. But everyone was drunk, and they were just like, this is the best cookies ever. And I'm like, no, they're really not. They're like, nah, dude, they got chocolate in them. I'm like, well, yeah.
I liked it.
They'll break your teeth, but they do have chocolate inside of them. So then I would get drunk, and I'd try to make peanut butter cookies, and they always came out like rocks, mostly because I didn't have the stuff to make them properly. And then last week I made sugar cookies because I literally didn't have anything in my house but flour and eggs and sugar, and those came out like rocks. So I looked up internet tutorials. I spent hours researching, like, what the fuck am I doing wrong with my cookies? And I finally figured it out. Like, when you cook meat, you can kind of just put a bunch of meat in a thing, and then it's fine. You cook vegetables, it's like olive oil, salt and pepper, boom, you're good, right? But like cookies, there's always like rules, and if you don't follow the rules, you get shit cookies.
Yes, it's true.
But last week I followed all the rules, and I made literally off the back of the package the Nestle Toll House, like here's how to make a basic chocolate chip cookie with some walnuts in it, and they turned out really good. But now I know how to make chocolate chip cookies. and also when I made the recipe, I made it, and I was like looking through the thing, I was looking at the back of the chip cookie. I was like, okay, doing my stuff. And then I was like, wait, this it was like yields roughly 6 dozen cookies, and I'm like, no, 5 dozen cookies. I'm just like, 60 cookies?
Oh, geez.
So I froze most of the dough because
I would assume so, yes.
60 cookies in my house. I can't give them to anybody either. Like, keep offering them to when people come over to record. Everybody's just like, nah, that's all right, buddy. And I'm like, come on, dude, just take like 8 cookies.
If they're just chocolate chip, I'll take them. But if they have like nuts in them, I'm no deal.
See, I was worried about that because the recipe wanted walnuts, and I picked up walnuts. I put the walnuts in there, and it looks crunchy little, but I get it, man. Some people don't like stuff. So anyway, bad news. I thought I was sick. It turns out I'm not. There were cookies. Huzzah!
Now you're the cookie king.
Yeah. So that's a roller coaster. Up next, snickerdoodles. I want to make snickerdoodles. So last week, Amanda told me, I was telling her about my cookie fails, and she was like, well, there's this whole adage in cooking that, like, people who can cook, like, meat and vegetables usually aren't quite as good at baking. And, boy, I was just like, ooh, I'm going to show that, Amanda. I'm going to make some cookies, goddammit.
Make some damn good cookies.
So, yeah. Make some cookies. If you're going to make cookies, if you've never made cookies before, like, leave your butter out overnight, right? measure your butter correctly. Don't just like, because if you just do tablespoons of butter to like a cup of butter or whatever, it turns out that like your normal chocolate chip cookie recipe, you need like 2 whole sticks of butter, and you got to leave it out overnight to let it get soft, because there's this one thing they tell you to do where they're like, cream the butter and the sugar together. What that means is like mixing them into like this paste, right? But you can't do that if your butter's hard. And if you don't do it enough, then your cookies end up as rocks. Also, when you're measuring your flour, you gotta use a spoon to put the flour in the cup, and don't just put the cup in the flour bag, because then you end up packing all your flour together and you get big cold rock cookies.
Oh, that makes sense.
Like I was making. Anyway, that was my cookie journey for last week.
The cookies journey.
Yes. How was your week, Michael?
It was okay.
Yeah.
I didn't really do anything all that interesting now I think about it.
Okay.
I've gotten farther in Ultimate Alliance 3. I'm almost done from what I can tell.
Last time you were over here, you had like 2 levels left.
Yeah, but my roommate keeps playing Mario Maker 2 by the time I get home.
Bastard.
And so I end up just eating, really, and then just watching something. But I'm thinking of trading in my Switch for the new Switch.
It's not that much different, though, right?
Apparently, it's got like a twice as long battery life, though.
I heard it was like an extra hour. Do you use it in handheld that much? See, I use mine is mostly just like a hooked up to my TV.
I do if we're watching something kind of thing. Like, yeah, because it's me and my roommate, so sometimes he'll like, I want to watch this movie. I'm like, cool, I'll just grab my Switch and play it in handheld mode for a while.
Okay,
and then like that's one of the reasons I'm considering it.
Yeah,
and
you've been running out of battery.
Sure. Yeah, like it runs out of battery a lot faster than I wish it did.
Okay,
but it's not like it's like dies within like seconds kind of thing. So I'm debating it only because right now GameStop has a deal where if you trade it in, it's just $75 more essentially.
Oh, to get the newer
one. Yeah. But you would have to like do all the transfer shit while at
a GameStop.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And so yeah, it's a whole thing.
You don't want to be standing at a GameStop for more than 5 minutes.
Exactly.
You're gonna catch something, man.
Which is why I'm debating it. And so like a bunch of my coworkers are thinking about it because they bring their Switches to work actually.
I would think that an employer would frown at such a thing personally.
Well, it helps that our boss also just randomly will play ping pong in the middle of the day.
Oh, okay.
So he doesn't give a fuck.
All right, so you work at Fuck Off Incorporated. All right, well, there's some benefits to that.
Also, a lot of times they don't play it while in the middle of work per se. They do it on their breaks and stuff.
Okay.
It's not like they immediately just pull it out because there's no chats or something.
Self-control. You office drones and your self-control.
I don't have any, which is why I don't take my Switch with me.
Oh, also, I watched Glow Season 3 last week.
Really?
I love Glow. I think that show is great. I think everybody should watch it. I will say that if you're in it for like the wrestling part of it, I mean, it's a drama about wrestlers, not necessarily like a wrestling show.
Well, it lasted longer than the actual Glow did, so
yeah. But no, it's good. I really hope, because there's this whole the 3-season Netflix curse, and they really set up at the end of the 3rd season for a really bombastic season 4. Like, it would not be satisfying if season 3 was the end of this show. And so I would like to take this opportunity on the Rage Select podcast to say to all the people of Rage Select, go watch Glow, because apparently Netflix, like, they judge a thing based on like the first month of hits, and then if you watch half of it and stop and never go back, they're just like, nobody likes it, better cancel it, which is why everything gets canceled on Netflix.
Canceled so many things recently too.
Yeah, that fucking Invader Zim movie, they're not canceling that.
Well, it took a long time for that to come out, though.
Yeah, but that's a guy, right? Like he hates his fans so much.
Well, no, Nickelodeon was like really weird about it because they announced the Rocco and the Zim thing like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah,
and they had all this footage for it, and then we heard nothing for like almost 2 years, and then randomly Netflix is like, we have them now, and then they released them within like 20 minutes, basically.
Okay, it
was very, very strange.
Okay. Well, speaking of really, really strange things, let's talk about video game news.
Indeed.
So we got a lot of Battle Royale at the beginning of this news this week.
Did they all die?
No. There was one left. You see what I did? No, a lot of Battle Royale, not very much of it actually talking about the game of Battle Royale.
Oh, okay.
More just around Battle
the anime,
Royale.
then.
Yeah. So, okay, let's start with everybody's favorite Shadow Assassin, Tyler Blevins, the ninja himself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you not keep up with?
I don't know his name.
All the hot Fortnite.
I just know Ninja. I don't know his actual name.
So okay. All right. Here's the skinny. So last 2 weeks ago, I think you and I were talking about this, right?
Yes.
Ninja left Twitch, went to Mixer. So when that happened, Twitch was left with Ninja's page on Twitch.
Yeah.
And normally when you go to a page of somebody who, say, has left Twitch, it's just got all their archives there, right? It's just, here's all the old stuff. Well, Twitch decided to do something a little different. And they basically put up this page that said, like, the streamer, the ninja you're looking for is in another castle. Check out these Fortnite streams instead. And then it, like, put a bunch of videos below that were Fortnite streams.
Yes.
Okay. The thing is that last weekend, one of the people whose streams was being featured started streaming full-on pornography to their channel. And it was just straight up, like at the top of the views of the block of Fortnite channels that were being featured.
I heard that was a team effort, though.
Oh, yeah?
I heard what happened was that like a bunch of people realized that they could fuck with the algorithm for this thing.
Yeah.
And just sort of recommended it essentially for Fortnite, and that's the biggest reason why it's at the very top.
Or I mean, you know,
something like that.
Alternately, people like pornography.
That's true.
You know, you see porn online and you're just like, hey, thumbs up. You know what? This actually is okay. So, you know, porn, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I would assume so.
You know, the internet has porn on it, right? Why in the world do porn sites have those like social media buttons on the bottom?
Who's sharing those, by the way?
Shared this clip, shared this nasty college slut's roommate XXX stepmom fantasy lesbian encounter to my mom on Facebook.
Your grandma's really gonna want to know about what you're into.
Like, hit this.
She wants to know what to get you for Christmas.
Hit this. It's like a minefield. It's like playing Minesweeper. It's like if you click on the Twitter button and like some of these social links, like they don't even ask for confirmation. They're just like, all right, buddy, it's on your Twitter now, and go for it. You're good to go.
I think it was Pornhub that did it as an April Fool's. That if you clicked on anything, it just said, thanks for sharing on your Facebook.
Oh, Jesus.
And like everyone lost their fucking shit because they legitimately thought that was happening. It was amazing.
That's why I only go to mormonsluts.com. That's they don't have any of those shared. No, yeah, I don't know what the fuck is up with those social media.
Somebody's really into sharing those. Like, is all that happening.
Well, what I don't know is, I mean, I'm old, right? I'm 40. I don't know what fleek means. I don't know what dabbing is about. Like, I know that it's about eyebrows. That's about eyebrows are good. That's what it's about. But like, are the kids now just like, bro, you got to check out this fucking barely legal furry teens clip from Pornhub, man. This is the hottest porn I've seen all week. I mean, I was raised in an environment where porn was something to be ashamed of, and that you didn't tell anybody. You just like you put all the magazines in your closet and you just don't ever talk about them, right?
Yeah.
I remember the time that my mom, I had to move, and I was staying with my parents for a while, and I had a porn mag. This is a long time ago. A porn magazine that was like. It was in my closet, and when I was moving, it was like in between a bunch of clothes, and then I put those clothes in a box and I brought it to my parents' house, and my mom just saw clothes and started washing them.
Oh, God.
And then she was like, I found this. Is this yours? And I was like, I was like 25 at the time, so I was like, yes, that's mine. I'm a guy. I'm 25. Yes, that's my pornography. Thank you, Mom. I'm sorry. I will try not to put it in my clothes anymore, Mom. Anyway, back to Ninja. Enough tangents. Fully awake, fully caffeinated Jeff is weird. So, yeah, Twitch showed this. And it's funny because, the first thing that happened was, okay, bunch of problems here. One, Ninja's viewers are pretty young.
Right? His fan base are mostly teenagers.
Right.
Who are probably already looking that stuff up, to be honest.
Or younger.
Who are also probably looking that stuff, to be honest.
Yeah.
The internet's fucking weird nowadays.
I love the internet because it's just like, hey, man, you 18? I'm like, yeah.
Sure, why not?
Like, whenever a place asks me to enter my age, enter my birth date, Michael, I put in 01/01/1900. I am 120 years old, and they're just like, you seem like you're cool to look at this violent video game, dude. So Ninja came out. He basically made a statement where he was like, this is very frustrating because I have no control over what Twitch does with my page. Like, when you hit the terms of service, that, like, you know, it's a company thing, right? It's like if YouTube takes your video down, you don't have any recourse. They can kind of do whatever they want to with your video. So he basically came out and said boo. And then the CEO of Twitch came out and said this was like an experiment that they were trying, which, okay.
It's a good idea at the time.
Not bad. And he was like, and then the weirdest part of his statement was that he had to take special pains to be like, this does violate our terms of service, and that user was kicked off of our platform. And it's like, well, duh. I mean, there was a story that was like, 6 months ago, where it turns out that all the streams for Artifact were mostly porn because nobody was playing Artifact.
Which is still fucking amazing to me that happened.
So
team effort, people. Everybody, team effort.
Yeah. The only thing that's weird to me is that if you need to look at porn, I mean, if you've got a Twitch window open, all you have to do is just open a second tab and type in.
Why would you go to Twitch is really my question. It's like cable, guys. What do you get people doing at that point?
I don't know. If you're like, oh, man, I need to watch some Fortnite. Well, there's something to. Okay, maybe I take 15 minutes before I start watching Fortnite and watch this instead. Anyway, hey, we stream every Sunday here on Rage Selective. We do not stream pornography
that you know of.
So that happened. Anyway, yes.
It's all ninja porn. That's all it is.
So dirty ninja action. Dirty ninja stepmoms. So anyway, all right. Speaking of Fortnite, there was a class action lawsuit being brought against Epic this week. Back in January, apparently Epic had some problems on their website and surfaced the personal information from the accounts of a whole shitload of people who play Fortnite.
Yeah.
I think it was like a phishing thing where it's like you would get an email, and then if you clicked on it, it was like you just all your shit's in their hands now.
Okay.
But basically, a group has brought a lawsuit against them saying that they didn't secure this information well enough, and etc. I don't know how far this will get. I mean, like, Equifax is still a thing. I mean, you know, large data breaches, like the ESA had one 2 weeks, like a week and a half ago. You know, Sony had that giant one back in the day.
If history has taught us anything, this thing is going to last a very long time.
Yeah,
and everyone's going to make at least $10
right.
minimum.
Right. I was listening to a podcast about the Equifax payout, and it turns out that you get like $150, but that only works if only like 20% of the people in the lawsuit take the payout, and the more people that take it, the smaller it gets. So it turns out that like somebody did the math, and if everybody takes the payout, everybody gets like a quarter because
they only put a like what 31 million aside for it, or something like that.
Yeah,
and there's just no way at that point.
Nope.
It's all shit.
Yeah, it's all garbage. Speaking of garbage and Epic garbage, here's the least bad thing that's happened with Fortnite this week. So Fortnite has their Battle Pass, right? And one of the things that the Battle Pass does is you're supposed to be able to get stuff in the Battle Pass that is specific and only available by purchasing the Battle Pass.
Yeah.
Well, last week, they put up a dog in a backpack. And the dog was called, I can't remember what this one is, was called Gunner, which was pretty blatantly a really close palette swap to a dog that came out in the Season 6 Battle Pass called Bonesy.
Huh.
Speaking of online dirtiness.
Okay.
And apparently the community for Fortnite got really mad about it because you're supposed to be getting like exclusive shit when you sign up for the Battle Pass, and this was just like a palette swap of a dog. So that's what people on Fortnite are really mad about right now, the mech and this dog backpack that you can get.
I don't see that big of an issue with that, to be honest. But
so Epic took it down and apologized, and yeah, that's
fucking weird.
This is Fortnite news crumbles.com.
This is like, okay, what the fuck?
All right. So that one's not maybe the most exciting news. Not a thing to get mad about on your internet Sunday night, right?
I'm more
or
upset
Monday
by
morning.
the fact that I'd be upset at having a different color dog. It's just weird to me.
They're very similar, though. I mean, if you look at the pictures of them, they're
super similar. But like at least at least keep the item. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
just like demand another one, but it's a cute dog.
Well, you look on the bright side. At least this dog doesn't cost all that much. Whereas this axe in Apex Legends apparently costs $170.
Wait, what?
So, let's move on from Fortnite to Apex Legends. So Apex Legends is EA's, battle royale game. We all know what Apex Legends is. Apparently, they're having an event right now that's called the Iron Crown Collection.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the Iron Crown Collection, there's a specific type of... Okay, I'm going to try to get this all from memory. Please correct me if I'm wrong. The comments. Obviously, I don't feel like you've been running down the numbers on this axe, but...
Sure.
So there are a bunch of things that you can get, a bunch of cosmetics that you can get for characters, specifically in this event. Apparently, with this axe is at the top of a tier of cosmetic items for Bloodhound. So the thing is that this axe, which is called Raven's Bite, you can only get this after you've collected everything else that is in this pack.
Uh-huh.
Then you get the ability to essentially pay money for this axe. So you can get 2 of the loot boxes using in-game currency, but then the rest of the loot boxes for this collection you have to buy using Apex coins. So somebody did the math, and basically what it comes out to is like you can get the first 2 for free, and then you're going to need to basically spend about $160 on in-game currency to get everything else. And then when you get to the last one, you're going to need to spend like an additional $10 to open that up, which means that this axe is $170 if you want to get it.
That's ridiculous.
Yes, it is. It is absolutely ridiculous. Now, spoiler alert: they've rolled this back because they realized that this was stupid and it was making them look bad.
Yeah.
But what I think is really fascinating about this particular story, and I know that this comes as a shock. This is like I'm shocked to discover EA is a greedy corporation, but like Apex Legends has come out of nowhere, and like it's relatively popular, right? It's like we talk about Fortnite, Apex, and PUBG. Like we aren't talking about any of those other dick ass.
No one mentions the Call of Duty one all that much anymore.
Blackout,
or Battlefield had one too. I think.
Oh yeah, Firestorm. Yeah. And Michael, I just, I feel like the people that work at EA need to read Kotaku from time to time, like, and not like the programmers, but like the people that are making these decisions, because apparently they didn't want Respawn to make Apex Legends, right?
Huh.
Apex Legends was made on Unreal instead of Frostbite, because they want everything to be made off of Frostbite.
Yeah.
They had the Battlefield 5 Battle Royale like in development. That was supposed to be EA's Battle Royale.
Oh yeah.
And then like Respawn, they convinced them to let them do this. You remember when we recorded for it just kind of came out of nowhere. It was just like, hey man, EA's got a Battle Royale. Check out, it's like this weird Titanfall spinoff. Like
it came out like just randomly.
Yeah.
Like, in the middle of the day.
It's like Tuesday at 3:00. Here's actually it was like Monday afternoon. And they were like, and everybody was like, "Hey, this is cool! Like, right? It's
kind of fun.
Like, yeah, it's not as janky as PUBG.
I don't have to talk to people half the time.
Yeah, you got these 3-person teams. It's got a lot of interesting stuff going on. It's got some kind of cool character designs. And then it was like, as soon as EA saw that it was not going to be like a total failure, they were like, yes. Bring the squeezing machine out. We must squeeze the wallets. Like, you remember the first Battle Pass kind of sucked?
Yeah.
And I figure, like, after the first Battle Pass sucked, they might want to do, like, I don't know, 2 or 3, like, relatively regular good Battle Passes. But no, they can't, like, they can't help themselves, can they? They're just, like, you're already have to be making money. EA is not, like, a corporation teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. Like, they're not fucking what's his name, Satan, Andrew Wilson, is like obviously not, like eating cabbage and pork chops like Jeff from Rage Select trying to save money, right? Like, this motherfucker's got suits and he looks like the devil, right? You're obviously have a lot of money. How much more money do you need to be happy?
They need to get all the money.
All the money.
Reminds me of this Flash video where it's just like, I think it's Andrew Wilson talking to Anthem. He's like, "You're gonna get me that fucking money." This is like a giant pile. And he's like, "I don't think I'm ready yet."
Oh, we will get to Anthem. So in any case, as I said before, they did roll this back. But then when I was reading the article about them rolling this back, it was really strange because it basically said, this is off of a Polygon article, and it said, let's see, on Friday afternoon, Respawn's Drew McCoy published a post on the official Apex Legends site detailing changes that be made to the availability of the Iron Crown cosmetics. The gist is that the cosmetics will no longer require loot boxes, though they remain an option if players choose. Instead, individual items can be purchased for 1,800 Apex coins, about $18 in real-world money. Like, each thing is $18? That
nuts.
seems like... I mean, I could be wrong. That's what I got when I read that thing. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's maybe $18 gets you like the whole set or something.
Maybe, I don't know. It's just crazy. I'm not a big fan of microtransactions really anymore.
Who is?
EA.
I mean,
EA is, yeah.
I don't think I've ever met
surprise mechanics, bro.
Another gamer who was just like, "Oh man, I can't wait! They put loot boxes in Cyberpunk, and now it's going to be so much better than it was going to be before." Like, yeah,
surprise mechanic, guys.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not done talking about Apex Legends yet because last week we had all of our dumb stories about video game violence, Walmart's taking down quote-unquote violent game purchases in the store, and there was supposed to be an Apex Legends tournament on ESPN last week that they apparently just like straight up canceled due to the shootings, and it's like... What? And this is off of another Polygon article, but Michael,
that makes no fucking sense, ESPN.
Let me read this paragraph to you. Quote, out of respect for the victims and all those impacted by the recent shootings, ABC will no longer air the EXP Invitational Apex Legends at X Games on Sunday, unquote. ESPN said in an email sent to affiliate networks. In its place, ESPN will air an episode of its E60 series about a tragic bus crash.
I'm sorry, what?
About a tragic bus crash. Their series, this one is about a tragic bus crash. So, yeah.
That makes no fucking sense.
No.
From, like, any standpoint.
Yeah.
Like, what?
No. You are correct. You say it doesn't make any sense.
ESPN, you don't cancel sports because somebody riots after a fucking game loses. You guys have no fucking idea what you're doing at this point.
Again, I come back down to, like, I mean, would you cancel EVO? I mean, fighting games are violent. You're beating the shit out of somebody, right? Is it just if a game has a gun in it, is that it's like this? See, this is the dumb trickle down thing, right? Where like I don't think anybody was like, "Dude, Apex Legends is making the kids into murder people, murderers," and especially not after last week when like, I mean, look, again, we're not going to wander too far out into the swamp that is this conversation, but like. The one guy had left the reason he wanted to do the thing, and the other guy left, like, not a reason, but, like, there was some facts about the case that made it seem... Like, neither one of them wrote, I want to be Call of Duty in real life. Like, I'm going to get a high score.
None of them at any
point. I mean, like... And then you float this thing, and it's just like, oh, man. And it's weird, too, because... Again, not to wade too far out into the deep end, but like, last week, Donald Trump had that speech with the teleprompter where he's real robotic. He said like, the video games are to blame. And then like there was hit a rally this week where he was like, you guys all need to have, everybody should have a gun. We're never going to do anything to take your guns away. I mean, no matter how you feel about it, it's a weird, it just feels like you're scapegoating the games.
That's
right?
exactly what it is.
I mean,
it's not even feels like. That's exactly what it is.
Right. I mean, I don't know
Deep
anybody.
end or not, it's
I don't know
fucking
anybody that
ridiculous.
agrees with this, or if you do, I don't understand why John Wick and comic books don't also make you into a psycho. Like reading The Punisher doesn't make you be like, "Ooh, I want to be the Punisher."
Well, we had the comics thing like years ago. Like the 50s did that to comics.
Yeah.
At one point, which is why the Comics Code Authority was a thing for a while. And then everyone else realized that was bullshit, and now it's video games kind of thing.
I don't know. It seems really clear to me, and I don't think I have to. I don't think anybody listening to this podcast is just like, I think you're wrong. If you think I'm wrong, I really want you to email in and tell me why I'm wrong. Like somebody actually,
Without threatening to shoot us, by the way.
somebody actually emailed me to talk about when I was like sloughing off video game addiction, right? And they were like, "Look, I'm a teacher, and like." When you grew up, like you grew up with video games, you didn't have like these super sophisticated games with all these hooks in them to like get you to play them like when you were developing as a child. And like I see kids that have a really, really hard time like putting Fortnite down, you know, where I can't get them to pay attention because they will try to sneak play Fortnite in class. I'm like, okay, right, my mind has been changed.
Yeah.
But as near as I can tell, this blaming the latest thing is a thing that has been going on for years. And before it was video games, it was rap music. And before it was rap music, it was satanic heavy metal and D&D. And you remember back in like the 80s when like cable TV will rot your brain.
Everything
and
will.
You remember how you know how now we binge watch and people are like, oh man, I'm going to binge watch The Boys. And it's like, you remember when you were a kid and there was like this common thing that was like, don't watch so much TV. You'll destroy your mind. You won't be able to think. And now it's like, watch 8 hours of The Office just straight, man.
Just fucking do it.
Don't stop.
Don't think about it. Watch Friends for the 100th time.
I'm actually watching Friends again for the 100th time.
It is fun. It's mostly Joey and Chandler, though.
Also,
everybody else is terrible.
Dude, sorry. I really, this is a very tangential podcast. I was watching Friends
Very
again.
hyper.
I know. I didn't get much
kind of
sleep.
amazing.
And then I also have a lot of caffeine in me. Oh my God, Ross is so bad.
He's a terrible person.
He's the worst. Like, he's the worst boyfriend. He's the worst friend. He's the worst, like, father. Like, he's just bad.
He's
like
the worst.
all around. And I was watching it and I was like, am I the only one who thinks this? And I just typed Ross is the worst into Google, and I was like, oh no, I'm not the only one who
I think my
this.
favorite Friends joke is still from Futurama, where he's just like, well, I don't understand why Ross, the biggest of the Friends, doesn't just eat the others.
He's so terrible. He's like mean to his friends. Like, hey, say what you will about like say Joey and Chandler because they've got their faults, but like at least they're like friends with each other.
They're nice.
Whereas like Ross just kind of treats everybody like they're stupid, and then he's like, anyway. That's for the Friends podcast.
There's a lot of stuff you could talk
Friends
about how
podcast.
Ross is a terrible person.
ESPN, don't be a baby.
Don't be Ross, ESPN.
Don't be Ross from Friends, ESPN. Let us watch our violent video games. Like, come on. Like, at this point, last week I was saying do something, and at this point I'm like, if this is what you're going to do nothing. Do nothing. Or do it all at once instead of just rinky-dink piecemeal bullshit. Because you know what? I would watch an Apex Legend tournament on ESPN.
I would watch it, yeah.
Like, I remember the time that I was at a bar and I was watching Heroes of the Dorm on ESPN at a bar, and I was just like, what are you doing, Diablo? Mid! And everyone was looking at me like, what? Because there's like 8 people in the bar. And I'm like, oh, this is what it's like when most people go to like a wing place, because they understand how the game works, and I understand how this game works, and so I could just be like, damn it, Kerrigan, get out! Get out! Man, come on. So if there was more video games on ESPN, I might watch ESPN.
Yeah.
So don't be Ross, ESPN. Speaking of horrible bullshit, we've got 2 horrible bullshit stories. Apparently, bomb threats are a big thing now. Somebody called in a bomb threat to Bandai Namco's U.S. office. Last week, we actually had a story about Twitch telling their workers to stay home because of a threat. This one, there's not really a lot of details on it, but apparently somebody called it a threat. They evacuated. The police came in and checked the building. Nothing was there. No problem. But
It's probably because they're bad online coding.
yeah, it's because of
Somebody was really pissed about that.
Probably because of some Dark Souls 3 balance patch that nobody liked. Sekiro's too hard. Oh wait, that's not bad at Namco. That's Activision.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah. So anyway, somebody called in a bomb threat to Bandai Namco, and they had to close up for a few minutes.
that's so weird.
Which apparently, like, you know, there was that fire at the animation studio in Japan, and then there was like a somebody threatening Square Enix's Osaka offices after like losing at one of the mobile games that they put out. I think people look, maybe video games do make people violent.
It makes the crazier ones violent, but those are such a small percentage of people.
Can't imagine being like, fuck you, League of Legends. You know what? I'm going to go, fuck you, Candy Crush. I'm going to go burn down King's headquarters.
The thing is, like,
why?
if it wasn't video games, it would be something else that would have set those people off.
Yeah. And speaking of which, we also had a Square Enix was having a tournament in Japan for a game called Starwing Paradox that apparently they got some threats for and they had to cancel. So, which, boo.
That's just lame.
It sucks. Actually, have you ever heard of Starwing Paradox?
I've not.
Okay, so Starwing Paradox, like I looked it up on the internet, and it's like a Japanese Square made this Japanese arcade game, and it's like you've got a throttle on the left hand and like a joystick on the right hand, and you're sitting in a seat in front of a big screen, and the seat moves around. And it's like a third-person mech game. And it's got like a touch screen, and all the mechs are piloted by anime girls, and they all like put their hand up to the screen. And you got to like put your hand on their hand in order to start the mech up. But it's like a 4v4 multiplayer thing with these big banks of things. It's really weird looking, and I'm just like, I'm sort of miss arcades a little bit. Like not.
Well, we have arcades, but we don't have like Japanese arcades.
Right.
Is the thing.
Right.
Because Japan is like the craziest, fucking coolest things I've ever heard of.
I mean, outside of like the Enter the Gungeon shooting game, like what's a new U.S. video game that you got to go to the arcade? Oh, look, there's another Star Wars game that's going to cost $2 to play for 30 seconds.
Like they made a new Ninja Turtles beat 'em up that was okay, but like it's still not like something to go out. Like there's a Halo one now. There's a Halo
like a beat 'em up, like a Final Fight style.
No, there's like a Halo shooter thing.
Oh,
it's like an ODST game.
Okay,
where you it's kind of like those games where like the Terminator one, kind of where it's just a big old gun and then you just go
like
a thing.
LA machine guns.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay,
but it's like a Halo one that's like fucking $2. It's so weird, and you have to reload in it too. It's very strange.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, stop ruining everybody's fun, you jerks.
People are mean.
Jerks.
For like no reason.
Speaking of ruining fun, so 2 weeks ago we got Hero in Smash Brothers.
Yes.
The Dragon Quest Hero, and this week an Australian fighting game tournament organizer said they're going to ban Hero as one of the characters that you can play in the tournament. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that the Hero has like randomized powers, because when you pull up the magic window, it's random. And then apparently there's there's a lot more RNG in the like critical hits and things that they do. And so they basically said that, and I can really understand this, where it's kind of like antithetical to the way that fighting games work, in that fighting games are about learning a character and then putting your skill up against another character and having this much like kind of random potential for big swings that don't have anything to do with your individual skill level.
Oh, okay.
Kind of messes it up a little bit.
That's fair.
As a fan of Smash, I actually wanted to ask you, like, what do you think about that? Have you played any of the Hero?
I have not, because I haven't bought the pass to get anybody.
Okay.
But that's completely fair, because Smash Brothers can get very tricky very quickly, especially if you don't know what's happening next, kind of thing. Because it's very much a battle of wits as well. Really. Like it's a lot of dodging this, dodging that kind of thing, and if everything's random, even the guy who's using them is going to have a hard time making that work.
Well, one of the things I said was that in the past that there have been other characters that have had some amount of randomness to them, but that like if a skilled player can kind of like work around that, it's different than if you just like don't know what special moves you're going to get until you push like down B, right?
Like some randomness is like the chance of something happening,
right?
Like with Jigglypuff Sleep, if you know how to do it well enough, you can make that work every single time.
Yeah.
Or Luigi's uppercut has the chance of a critical kind of hit.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know how to do that too, you can do it every time. But this is just like, it's just the randomness of the whole thing, and that can be very tricky.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Yep. I agree. Seems like not the worst thing to do. Speaking of not the worst thing to do, let's go back and talk not about Fortnite, but about Epic, because they added cloud saves to the Epic Game Store this month.
Oh, okay.
So, unfortunately, it's not every game. It's not universal. It's about a dozen games. So, yeah, like it's weird. Like apparently they're implementing it on like kind of a game by game basis instead of having just kind of a standardized thing. I mean, Steam does it for every game, right?
I don't know. I don't know enough about Steam personally.
Okay. Yeah. So they are adding things to the Epic Game Store.
Things are happening.
They just need to add a fucking shopping cart. A fucking shopping cart. Like
that still blows my mind.
It's like 101, dude. I don't.
It's 101 e-commerce in general.
Anyway, they also talked about some of the new free games that you can download. Hyperlight Drifter Hyperlight Drifter and Mutant Year Zero are some of the ones that you can do the upgrades with. Also, they have support now for Humble Bundle codes to be redeemed.
Oh, okay.
Which apparently they didn't have before. Yeah, I think instead of pallet swapping dog backpacks, they should make a fucking shopping cart, man.
It's going to be a dog shopping cart.
I don't care if it has a dog in it. I don't care if it has a cat in it. I don't care if it's got Randy Pitchford in it. All I care about is being able to put more than one game.
I think you would care if it was Randy Pitchford, though.
It was just a little gif of Randy Pitchford
just doing card tricks.
Thumbs up.
You got to wait for him to finish his card trick before you get into the cart.
That's a very interesting question. Would you take an Epic Game Store shopping cart if you had to watch Randy Pitchford do like a 10-second magic trick every time you wanted to check out? That was like the CAPTCHA code. He does the trick, and then you have to guess what card. And if you get it right, then you can check out. But if you get it wrong, you've got to watch another Randy Pitchford magic trick. Oh my God, that sounds like a nightmare. Don't do that. Don't do that. Oh my goodness.
I kind of want that to be a thing.
Anyway,
it doesn't have to be Randy Pitchford, though.
It's nice to see that they're doing, something. Anything.
Yeah, they're doing something.
Yeah.
They're trying. They're trying to make themselves be useful.
Yep. Well, speaking of useful updates to games, you remember how those Doom games came out and you had to log into your dumb Bethesda account?
Yeah.
Now you don't.
Hooray.
So, good job, Bethesda, fixing something that should never have been broken in the first place.
That's still fucking weird that was even a thing.
Yeah. I understand that. I mean, it's weird because I'm tempted to just bitch about how long it took because those games have been out for like 2 or 3 weeks, but ripping a feature out of code and then like going back through the QA testing to make sure that you didn't fuck it all up.
That's true.
Like, and then recertifying it with the game publishers and then rolling the patch out all at the same time. Yeah, it's more just one of those like, Bethesda, what is going on with you? What is wrong with you guys? Like, you just seem to be making one bad decision after another.
It was just Doom 1 and 2, right, that did that?
I think 3 might also have had that on it. I think 3, I don't know. I know that Doom 1 and 2 did because I got 1 on my Xbox and I had to find my password to log into it.
Oh, yeah.
And then I bought 2 on the PS4 and it had the same password as my PS4, so it was fine. But, yeah. Or I already linked it. I think I already linked my Bethesda account in the past to do like Skyrim mods or some bullshit like
Perhaps.
that. So anyway, if you've been holding off, I will say that Michael and I have played both Doom 1 and Doom 2, and at the price of $5 for each one of those, like if you don't have anything to play right now, which how could you not have anything to play right now?
Yeah. We
are just drowning, and like not next week, but the 27th of this month, like, oh, damn. Anyway, speaking of damn, Michael, I don't know how you're going to feel about this. I need you here as my resident Halo guy to tell me.
Sure.
So, Halo Infinite's creative director, Tim Longo, has left 343 to do, I don't know, fish or like build Habitat for Humanity or
who knows?
Open a yogurt stand. I don't know what he's doing. But he basically has left, which is kind of weird since this is, Halo Infinite is kind of
right around the corner kind of thing.
Well, I don't know. It's supposed to be like what's launch title for Scarlet?
Yeah,
we don't have a release date for Scarlet yet, so
yeah, that's what they're saying about it so far.
It's probably at least a year or two, at least a year out, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking holiday 2020.
That sounds right.
Probably.
Like at max, I think.
But even that, they've got to be like, if they only have about a year left, they've got to be getting pretty close. But I wanted to ask you about this because I don't know how much you keep track of the people behind the scenes, but Tim Longo here was basically the guy that was the director on Halo 5, which you just finished playing back through, and we're not exactly super, super impressed with.
Halo 5 is so fucking garbage.
I don't know if I go that far.
Well, compared to I mean,
have you played Haze?
That's true, but as I had mentioned, I'd played all of the Halos, the main title ones at least.
Right.
Except for Reach, I still plan on doing that again. I played 1 through 4, and 4 was fantastic. I feel like 4 I gave shit for originally because I had different expectations for it.
Yeah.
But it actually had a very intricate story about Master Chief's as a character instead of just him going out to save the universe kind of thing.
Right.
And 5 tries to use part of that, but it's more about the not Luke Cage-like character.
Spartan Locke? Are you telling me you were not emotionally engaged by Spartan Locke?
I was not engaged by Spartan Luke Cage, or not Luke Cage because it's not his voice.
Was it in Halo 4 where I don't play them in a row like you just did? I Halo 1 and 2 and 3 I don't pay attention to enough of the story, and then in Halo 4 it was just here are the new Spartans. I'm like, wait, you guys could have done that this whole time?
Yeah, the Spartan 4s.
Why didn't you do that instead of having the one guy, the one Halo man to do?
It was a process is the thing.
Okay.
It's a whole thing.
Okay.
And they actually did used to have the 3s, but they all died on Reach.
Okay. Well, I know that part. Yeah. I know that part. I mean, I don't know much about Halo, but I do know.
Well, the original first 3 essentially takes place over the span of not even a year, basically.
Okay.
It's all really close together.
So what do you think? Tim leaving, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It can go either way because who knows?
I want you to speculate wildly as somebody who's never seen this game.
Well, who's taking his place is the thing.
Let's see. I think let's see. Our executive producer, Mary Olson, will now take charge of the campaign team on Halo Infinite as lead producer, utilizing her many years of experience at 343 to help craft a great campaign for fans.
That can definitely go either way, then. The thing is, if he was the creative director last time, I'm actually looking a little more forward to what could be happening now.
Yeah.
Like I said, 5 I thought was a huge step back in storytelling.
Okay.
As well as
and it's
just
supposed to be
characters.
Like a reboot, kind of like a soft reboot.
That's the thing is we're still not sure. They keep that last trailer confused a lot of people because it's when does this actually take place?
Right.
Because his outfit looks the way it did in the old Halos, or at least Halo 2 and 3. And there's a Halo that's just exploded. So it's is this supposed to be an alternate sort of timeline kind of thing? Is it like the Star Trek reboot kind of thing?
It's gonna land. He's gonna get put on a moon with Spock. Spock's gonna explain the whole thing to him.
Yeah, it's gonna be
the Arbiter.
It's gonna be an old Arbiter.
Old Arbiter
explaining the past timeline or some shit.
You gotta go fight Eric Bana. Well, speaking of people leaving companies, we also had the lead of Anthem left. So Ben Irving is the lead guy here in Austin that's working on Anthem. So after Anthem launched, it transferred from Edmonton to BioWare Austin, and this guy was the lead on it, and he basically left this week.
He was like, so long, suckers.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, Michael. I found Anthem to be kind of inoffensive and a fun shooter where you could fly around, but it was by no means my game of the year for 2019.
People were very upset that you liked it, by the way. I remember seeing that.
I like what I like, man. I mean, it wasn't the greatest game of all time, but it was functional and kind of flying around like an Iron Man shooting stuff.
It was better than we thought it would be.
Yeah, well,
but that's not saying a lot.
It's one of those. It's like the Fantastic Four movie. If you don't have any expectations for it, and you go in and you're just all right, you can fly around like an Iron Man and throw missiles. You can do a bunch of lock-ons and blow stuff up. It's kind of pretty, it's fine. I mean, it's like not as good as BioWare, but then I'm not the biggest.
Talking about the Chris Evans Fantastic Four, right?
Yes.
Fan-Four-tastic.
Yeah.
Fan-Four-stick, I think is what people call it.
I thought that was what they called the other one.
That's what I'm saying. That's not. You're not talking about fan.
No, not that one. Not that one. The Chris Evans
one's
one.
Just
the
awful.
Chris Evans one. Yeah. But this, I mean, it's just like they missed their launch window for that Cataclysm update, and then when they did put it out, everybody was kind of like,
lose the blue tint. If I remember for the first
fucking kind of sucks.
It was bad.
So I don't know. You want to put down? You want to do some wild speculation about how long it is until we hear? Oh, Anthem's getting shuttered. A year? Maybe two?
I give it a year if they don't end up actually working on it, to be honest.
Okay.
Because I feel like there's somebody's trying to work on this, and they're just, every time they do, another thing sets on fire.
I think it's got to be that Frostbite engine, man. Like, I mean, the thing is that I can't think of another reason why, like, a game studio that knows how to make video games can't make a dumb online fly around and mix with your friends and get loot game, right? All you have to do is copy Destiny.
Yeah.
Right? But
couldn't even do that.
I don't know. Anyway, speaking of terrible, horrible, no good shit, let's talk about Yves Guillemot and Ubisoft.
What? I couldn't tell what he said.
Yves Guillemot.
I'm sure he was mumbling something.
CEO of Ubisoft.
Gesundheit.
So last week, he was talking to an outlet called GamerSky about Splinter Cell. And he said, quote, "There will be some new types of experiments, but on more different devices. We are working a little bit on the brand today to come back at one point. We can't say when because, as you know, it takes time. But each time we have to find the right experience to come back big." This word, there's one word. Did you catch the one word? Did you catch the one word that makes all the hair on the back of your neck stand up?
Was it multiple devices?
Yes. Different devices. It's going to be a fucking phone game.
Yeah, and it's not even a half Michael Ironside.
Fucking phone game.
It's Michael Ironside, right?
Yeah. Well, he wasn't in the last one. He wasn't in Blacklist.
Wasn't in the last one either,
but he did do the voice for when they did him in Ghost Recon.
Oh, okay. Wait.
So,
all right.
Did you not know that?
I did not know that.
There was like a series of missions where the Ghost and Sam Fisher team up in Ghost Recon.
I had no fucking idea.
Yeah, it's right before they put the Predator into Ghost Recon.
I had no idea that happened too.
Oh yeah, Ghost Recon got weird, man.
I guess I either forgot about it or something. No fucking idea.
Mm-hmm. And then it's got a battle royale coming, and then the new one has Terminator tie-in.
Sure, let's go with that
because it's all about the rise of machines with the Punisher. Because John Barenthal is the bad guy. Yeah.
I thought that was Gears of War or something that had the Terminators.
Also has Terminator.
Does everybody have Terminators in it?
Only 2 games have Terminator.
Well, the rumor is Mortal Kombat's supposed to as well.
Oh, okay.
That's the rumor.
Sure.
So we'll see how that goes.
We got that new Terminator movie, so...
That's probably why they're doing it.
Yep.
Everyone gets a Terminator.
Anyway, why can't you... Yves, Monsieur Guillemot... Monsieur, just make a game. Like, if you just, you know what? Where he talks about we got to come back bigger than ever. I was about to wade into a bad French accent there. We got to come back bigger than ever with their new Splinter Cell game. It's like, you really don't. If you just made a good Splinter Cell game and then you came out at E3 and said, here it is, a Splinter Cell game, everybody would be like, yes, fucking finally.
Yeah, if you said, here's a Splinter Cell game, and you made sure Michael Ironside was in it, everyone would buy it.
Yep, you drag back the money dump truck up to his house to make him come out on stage and talk about Sam Fisher. Don't bring John Barenthal and his dog on. bring Sam Fisher out and make him talk a little bit. I miss those games so much. They were so fun.
They were mostly great.
Sam Fisher was like a wise ass.
I was so bad at the first few of those, though.
Oh,
I was so used to the Metal Gear kind of way of sneaking, which is really not sneaking, to be honest.
See, I liked him when they finally put him out on the PC because they literally, like, this will tell you how the control scheme for it, how fucking French the control scheme for it was you would roll the mouse wheel up and down to control the speed of your walk. So it's like, it was like you'd set a throttle, and then when you hit the W button, that's how you would move forward. So, like, if you rolled it all the way down and you hit W, you would just walk slowly and sneak. And if you rolled it up, then you would go faster and faster and faster.
That's crazy as shit.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's kind of amazing, but crazy as shit.
Anyway, we got to pick up the pace, man. We're almost out of the hour. All right, briefly, let's talk about everybody's favorite, sexiest topic: tariffs.
Episode 1 all over again.
Tariffs. Not space tariffs, regular tariffs. So briefly, this was mentioned that,
Trade disputes.
again, yes, not to. This is one of those things where you got to know about this shit, gentle listener, because it's going to affect you. Okay, right? Donald Trump,
yes.
China, trade war with China.
Jedi, the whole thing.
No, don't confuse them. Don't confuse them. I would pay money though to see Donald Trump negotiating like across a table with a bunch of people dressed up like the racist aliens from the Trade Federation.
That would be amazing. That's probably how he sees them too, to be honest.
Oh my god. So anyway, here's the thing, right? Is you raise tariffs, they raise tariffs back, things get more expensive. China makes most of the electronic devices that we use. So there was a big chunk of imported things that Trump wanted to basically jack up 30% tariffs on, but he decided not to because this stuff coming over right now is going to be the inventory for Christmas. And he basically didn't want, listen, like Donald Trump, don't like Donald Trump, I think that you would have to be stupid to be like, you know what everybody needs for Christmas? Like a 30% increase in all the stuff your kids want.
Yeah.
And, and nobody's making more money. Like nobody's making more money, but everything costs 30% more. Like PlayStations cost 30% more.
It'd be fucked.
This does, so they basically delayed the tariffs that were supposed to come into effect last week until December 15th, which means that for the rest of this year, electronics, game consoles, apparently shoes and clothes is a big thing too.
Okay.
Kind of like just, hey man, if you were looking to get a game console, maybe do it this Black Friday or like when you see a deal, like maybe keep an eye out and put aside, like if you want a Switch, like Michael wants from GameStop, maybe make that happen before the end of the year as opposed to waiting too far into 2020 because there's a good possibility that the price may actually increase. It may, who knows? Retailers may just eat whatever the increase is.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, when top level corporate stuff makes prices go up, CEOs aren't just like, you know what? It's not fair to pass this on to the consumer. Take it out of my bonus this year. Generally, it's like, well, PlayStations are like 30% more now, so that happened. So anyway.
Yeah.
Speaking of bad news, we got more bad news. Dead Island 2. Remember Dead Island 2?
Is that still a thing?
Yeah. Dead Island 2. You remember the first trailer for Dead Island 2 with Jack Black?
Vaguely.
Where the guy was...
That was so long ago,
The guy was jogging, and then behind him, all the zombie stuff was happening, and then it zoomed in on him, and when it zoomed out, he was a jogging zombie, and everybody was around. It looked like they were going in a funnier direction, obviously, than Who Do You Voodoo Bitch from the first game.
Yeah.
So Dead Island 2 has changed developers, I believe, 3 times, and they're about to go to the 4th one.
I didn't even know that.
Let me spin you a tale. So originally Dead Island was going to be made by Techland, but then Techland left, I think, Deep Silver to make Dying Light, if I'm not mistaken. From there, it was given to Jaeger, who are the guys that made Spec Ops: The Line, a cheerful, fun comedy game.
Yeah, absolutely. Fun for the whole family.
After a little bit of time, it then moved from Jaeger to Sumo Digital, which worked on Crackdown 3 and Team Sonic Racing.
Oh, geez.
I think that's a better one.
Oh, a little bit.
And we just got an announcement that apparently it's moved from Sumo Digital to Dam Buster Studios. Now, Michael, do you know Dam Buster Studios has made one game? Do you know what game Dam Buster Studios has made?
I do not.
Starts with a home front and ends with a revolution.
Oh, God, really?
Yep. I didn't think those motherfuckers existed. I know they fired 60% of their staff.
I didn't know they were still around.
After that trash game came out, but yes, they're...
Didn't they make 2 of them?
I don't know if it's the same guys that made the first Homefront, but...
Either way, they were both awful.
The second one, though, was I played all the way to the end of Homefront, and it was bad, but Homefront 2, like made me nauseous because of like the frame rate and like the pop in, and
it was so bad.
It was so
if you
terrible.
Don't remember, it was so fucking bad.
So hey, good news: Dead Island 2 is still a thing. Bad news: it's probably not going to be very good. But hey, good news: we also got a report last week that apparently there's a new Saints Row game being developed.
Hell yeah, there is.
So Volition is apparently deep in development right now of a new Saints Row game, which is interesting because Saints Row 4 was the last Saints Row game, and that was like, I mean, I remember
years ago.
We recorded the Saints Row Christmas episode for Rage Select that has like Kayla and Allison on it. Like it was. So that'll tell you.
It was a long time ago when that came out.
I couldn't be more excited. Like as long as they don't as long as it's not Agents of Mayhem. Like, come on, guys, go back to the formula.
That game sucked.
Get out of hell, Agents of Mayhem. Put those aside. Get back to your roots, and let me, ride a T-Rex.
I wish Marvel would let them make another Punisher game.
Oh, Volition?
Yeah, I would love for that to happen again.
Did they make that one where you
they made
put the people in the piranhas? And
that
stuff?
game's amazing, by the way.
Really good. It's really, really good.
Yeah, there's like Easter eggs for it in Saints Row 3.
Oh, okay. All right, we're over time now, so we're into fast motion. There's a new Need for Speed game. It's called Need for Speed Heat in development. We watched a trailer for it. Michael and I were both completely mystified. Car culture, I do not understand it. This trailer makes it seem like driving a car is like the greatest thing that any human being could ever do.
It's like a revolution, apparently.
And like, what's that thing that she says at the end where it's like, if you're on fire, just go faster because then the flames will burn even hotter. It's like, wait, no, I don't want fire to go out.
I was like, what?
Go out, fire.
Yeah, every time she said something, I was like, I don't understand any of this. These are all metaphors I don't understand.
Yep. I mean, it looks like a driving game, right? You got a bunch of shiny cars. It looks like Forza Horizon or like, I don't know. Again, I come back down to this whole like, I'm not the biggest fan of driving games. So like, if your driving game is like Burnout where the crashes are amazing, cool. If it's like Forza where you're just racing the Nürburgring, I'm not interested in that.
I used to be a big fan of the old Need for Speeds, and because I used to just love just driving, like away from the cops kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think the third one introduced that. But shit has gotten really weird for Need for Speed as time has gone on. So.
I'm not good enough at driving games so that when I play it, it's like, oh man, like, you watch this trailer. This trailer might as well be the Call of Duty multiplayer trailer where it makes the game look like super fun. But then when I play, it's like, oh fuck, I ran into the wall. You got caught. Start the race over. It's like
it's just running into the wall over again.
So. I mean, good news for Need for Speed fans, right? Because what was the last one? Was that weird one? I think I played it with Brian Salisbury.
Was that the one with the live action cutscenes?
I think so.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes, we also got Gamescom is going on right now, and I'm assuming that next week we're going to have a lot more like. Because they're supposed to put out that full Cyberpunk demonstration and a bunch of different things at Gamescom, but it's just kind of starting right now. We also are getting an HD remaster for Commandos 2, which is an old game that I friggin' love that apparently I don't know how many people have even heard of it. I know you haven't heard of it.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it until today.
I had a friend who was really big into this game. It's basically just like a top-down kind of like the RTS, like the single-player RTS segments in like a StarCraft game or something, but you got these 6 World War II kind of dirty dozen motherfuckers, and you use them to kill a bunch of Nazis. And yeah, can't wait for that.
It looks kind of fun still.
Yeah, it is.
That's an HD.
Fan. Yep. We also got a release date for Telling Lies, which is the latest game from the guy that made Her Story, or lady. I don't know who made Her Story. It's got that guy from Upgrade.
Yes.
Discount.
Discount Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, yeah. Yeah.
One of the other ones is familiar to me, but I don't know what anything she's from.
There's a woman in here who is her who looks like she hasn't slept in 30 years.
Yeah.
She's in Westworld.
Okay,
she's one of
the
the prostitutes. She hangs out with Tandy Newton.
Oh, okay.
In Westworld. She's like her buddy. So anyway, we already knew that they had a pretty big cast for this, like more than just kind of the one person of Her Story, which I still haven't played.
I really liked Her Story a lot, actually.
And it's coming out on August 23rd. So
I actually am excited about that.
Is this August? Are we in August?
Yes, we're in August.
Oh, okay.
So that is like a week or two from now.
Yeah, that's like the week that this comes Sunday, and then like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's like Thursday or Friday of this week. So yeah, we'll probably be checking that out. And the last trailer this week was for Rock of Ages 3, which I don't understand how there have been 3 Rock of Ages games, but I appreciate the fact that somebody keeps giving these guys money to make the Rock of Ages games.
Good for them.
Which are really weird. They're like Tower Defense meets like this weird Marble Madness Boulder thing meets like Monty Python history weirdness. It's just such a strange concept. I really don't understand how any of these could possibly have made any amount of money. But
good for them.
But good for them. Apparently there's going to be like a new like kind of level editor thing. I don't think that was in any of the previous games. Looks like more Rock of Ages. Yeah. So from there, let's do a couple quick things. Skater XL is a game in early access. It's like a skating video game that has like one park and just very limited stuff, but it's been very popular on the PC. Is going to be coming onto the Xbox One. Apparently on the PC it's so popular they put it in early access. People are like making new levels and like new boards and stuff for it.
People want another good skateboarding game.
I don't
legitimately.
Yeah, this is one I do not understand how the industry has failed the people that want Skate 3. Like every E3, people are just like Skate 3, and I'm like, guys, I don't think EA knows what that is anymore.
No, they don't. Like Jason who? I don't know. Did that guy?
Yeah. I feel like they could put loot boxes in it though, right? Like
they easily could.
Decks and stuff, right?
Tony Hawk 5 came out and everybody loved it. I can't even finish that sentence.
I'm still waiting for Tony Hawk The Ride 2. You know. Anywho, also we have some news out of Nintendo. They did a filing with the FCC that was basically like a controller, like a wireless controller that has the form factor of a Super Nintendo controller.
Neat.
And it makes people believe that they're going to be putting SNES games on the Switch.
I want to believe.
Which would be cool, Nintendo. You just be cool, man.
Just fucking give us the shit, guys.
Yeah, just come on.
Give us Mother 3 already.
Just come on. Just do it. Just do it. Do it. Just do it now. It'll make the dumb online pass worth it. Speaking of platformers, also we got a release date for I didn't even know this was a thing, but a 2.5D ukulele.
I had no idea.
Called Ukulele in the Impossible Lair, which is kind of supposed to be like a Donkey Kong Country kind of game.
That's interesting.
Yeah, which is coming out in October. I had no nostalgia for the original ukulele because I didn't do the 3D platformers when I didn't have an N64.
I didn't do anything Banjo-Kazooie like at the time.
Yeah. And then
which is what it's a thing for, right?
Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't really like Donkey Kong Country. So. I
like it. I'm a big fan of the countries.
But hey, you know what? This is going to be out in October. We'll be able to check it out.
Maybe I'll play this one.
Yep. Let's see. Last, there's a mystery. Have you heard of the Death Stranding mystery?
I've heard of part of this mystery.
Okay. So last week there was a thing where on Sony's website there's a list of PlayStation exclusives, and Death Stranding was on that list. And then somehow last week, or just like, I don't even know who the fuck found this, because how the fuck did you find this? But like in the list of games, Death Stranding is now not on that list of PlayStation 4 exclusive games.
Which is crazy.
Which is real weird. I mean, like, so the question is, what does that mean? Because, like, you know, it was built on, like, the Killzone engine, and I'm pretty sure that Sony, like, funded part of it.
Yeah.
I guess maybe they start to think about, like, if they have some kind of deal for a cut of the profits with Kojima, maybe they're just like, Kojima games are really popular.
They're also real expensive.
Like, let's put it out on the Xbox One after a limited time and just ring the cash register because we like money.
Or maybe it's a PC thing.
Or maybe it's a PC
maybe
thing.
It's just the PC like Street Fighter.
Or maybe that whole Microsoft and Sony partnership had some strings that we didn't know about.
Possibly.
I don't know. I thought it was just for tech, but
we'll laugh if it ends up on Nintendo. Could you imagine that?
No.
Another fucking Kojima game on Nintendo?
No, I cannot.
That'd be amazing.
I can't, because the Switch can't handle any amount of fidelity that game is putting out.
Which is why it would be amazing.
It would be
like, even more fucking psychedelic.
What's
because
that?
of it.
What's that? There's one website that does this series on YouTube called like Potato Mode, where it's like they play PC games, but they put all the sliders all the way down in the detail settings, and it'd be like that. It would be like playing a game with every single detail slider just all the way down.
Have you seen MK11 on the Switch?
No,
it's so weird.
Yeah,
because all of the backgrounds are just static. Like nothing moves.
They just took a screenshot.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird. Like if you the robot level or whatever, where everything's like being built in the background. Nothing fucking moves.
Can you do like stage interactions?
I don't even know. I think you can, but like nothing really moves.
Weird.
It's fucking weird. It still plays really well, but it just does not look like anything's happening in the background.
If they were going to go that way, they should have just taken the whole game and put it through like a mosaic filter to make it look like it's like a Super Nintendo game,
which would have been amazing.
It would have been kind of cool. So yeah, who knows? Maybe Death Stranding, maybe not. Who can say? Last but not least, I know that people like playing video games, Michael. I know they do. But I believe it was in Seattle. There was a man that was pulled over. The Washington State Troopers pulled a guy over who was sitting on the side of the road, and he had 8 phones all playing Pokemon Go at the same time. They were in a big piece of foam that was cut. There's a picture here where they could like kind of put them in. And so apparently he was on the side of the road playing Pokemon Go on 8 different phones all at the same time.
Oh my God.
Yep. Apparently the police asked him to please put his phone thing in the back seat and go to work and don't look at your phones when you're driving.
Were they all the same like account, or how did this work? What?
I do not believe the Washington State Police inquired as to the status.
These are questions I need to answer.
Took a picture. Well, what I think is funny is they're all different phones, right?
Yeah.
There's like an iPhone, and there's like some Androids in there.
Really, I think that's a Windows phone somewhere in there. It's just shit is crazy.
Yeah,
this shit is ridiculous.
Yep.
Oh my God! But fucking amazing.
Yep. Don't. You know what? Don't fuck with your phone when you're driving. That's my hot tip of the day, because 99.999999999% of the time everything will be fine. But if you die because you fucking look at an Instagram notification, you're gonna feel real stupid.
They really wanted that Bulbasaur though.
Feel real stupid.
Really wanted it.
It's not worth it. Anyway. Apparently I'm the dad now of this website. I'm like, put down your phone. Quit watching so much pornography, and I'm going to tell you about tariffs.
Stop sharing your porn on your Pokemons.
Yeah, don't show your Pokemon, Fortnite, all your Fortnites and your ninjas. That's our news for this week. We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to read some questions. So everybody stick around, and we will see you in a minute. Michael, are you ready to answer some questions?
Sure.
No. I'm going to try this again. Michael, are you ready to answer some questions?
What's happening?
Oh, God damn it. All right. It's question time. MailRaceSite.com is the email address for you to send in your questions about whatever you have questions about. Our first question this week comes in from Vanish Knight. It's a short question, but I'm sure it's going to be interesting. It says, hello, Jeff and Michael. Do you think the millennial generation doesn't believe in compromise and that everything should only agree to their beliefs? If so, why? Vanish Night.
That's a terrible question, by the way.
Millennials.
The answer is no. We all totally believe in compromise. That's half our fucking life.
Are you millennial?
I'm a millennial, technically.
Millennial? Okay.
Yeah.
So
millennials are not that young, to be honest.
Obviously, as a millennial, you now speak for all millennials.
Yes.
When
I speak for the trees.
when you make a thing. I was thinking about this question a little bit this week, and I was thinking that I think that sometimes it can seem that way, but I think that the reason for that, Michael, is because of motherfucking Twitter.
It's true.
Because the thing is that I've been thinking a lot about the internet recently and how it's done a lot of. We've got to see a lot of interesting things and cool cats and people playing 8 Pokemon Go's at the same time. On the other hand, it's kind of like destroyed our perceptions of reality in a way because, like, you know, when you read like a news story about a thing, and it's a controversial thing,
Yeah.
and then at the bottom there's like 14 tweets of people being fucking dick faces about it, right? But like statistically speaking, 14 out of all the people who have feelings about whatever that news is like irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's like if you had a stadium full of people and you guys all watched what's the thing everybody likes?
I almost said The Simpsons, but that's not true anymore.
See,
The Good Place.
The Good Place.
Everybody
right?
watches The Good Place.
Everybody watches
And it's
The Good
amazing.
Place, right? There's 2,000 people and they all watch The Good Place. And then when you were like, you afterwards, you asked everybody what they thought about The Good Place, and then you featured like the 10 people who were like, that was stupid, pointless, horse shit, and it's garbage. Is it you never? All the rest of the people who were just like, wow, that was a great show. Like you wouldn't talk about them.
Yeah.
You would just be like, look at how much people don't like The Good Place.
Look at these weirdos.
Right.
Point and laugh at them.
I think that I think it's become very, very easy to construct exactly this kind of argument that millennials are take your pick, right?
Yeah, millennials did so and so thing.
Right, and then you pick 20 or 30 tweets to like see.
Yeah, see,
and it's
they
like,
love the avocado toast.
right?
It's like, what? No one likes these things.
Dude, avocado toast is great.
It's fine, but it's
great.
not like
It's great.
fucking the greatest thing ever.
And you know what? You know what the problem with avocado toast is? Is nothing to do with avocados or toast or even like all the money you damn millennials spend on avocado toast. Avocados are like what? Like 50 cents a piece at the store, like for a medium avocado.
For now.
Like yes. Like toast is nothing, right?
Yeah.
It's $3 for a loaf of bread. Avocado toast costs you about 75 cents per piece.
Yeah.
If you just make it at home. And all you gotta do is moosh up avocado, throw some little paprika and some, I don't know, like lemon or salt or something in there, spread it on toast. It's like butter, right? It's fine. It's just like buttery bread, but with avocado. Great. But then, you know, you find I don't know. It's this weird thing. You can literally, okay, this is what it is. There's not any one thing, Vanish Night, is we're all just like, everybody's an individual. You can construct any narrative that you want to about these things. You can construct a narrative that, like, you know, like last week we were talking about the couple that's making ooblets, right?
Oh, yeah.
And their whole thing. And it's like you can construct whatever narrative you want based on whatever. All you have to do is find the right outlet that like caters to saying, yes, you are 100% right about everything. I don't know. I think it's really easy. And I think that you end up. Okay. Okay. The internet wants you to click on things.
Yes, very much.
The
so.
best way to make you click on things is by spinning a narrative that is the most engaging.
It's all just blame millennials is basically most clickbait nowadays.
Right. And then engaging means usually like making people mad about something or making people like excited about something. And everything is so heightened because it's just, you know, I uninstalled Twitter from my phone. Like I uninstalled Facebook from my phone, and I uninstalled Twitter from my phone. I uninstalled Instagram, or not, I don't use Instagram. I uninstalled Imager from my phone.
Oh, okay.
And now it's like I just opened the Kindle app and read books, and I've determined this is making me less pissed off about everything all the time, because a lot of times the things they don't affect you all that much. You're very mad about the thing because. And
Facebook is just full of just like me getting upset over something. Lately, like especially nowadays.
Yeah,
it's very, very like I'm doing my best to like stay away from it as much as I can, but it's a way of keeping up with a lot of people.
I highly recommend it. I highly recommend trying to get some of that social media stuff offline because it's custom tailored to push your buttons, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And especially, my God, like if you go to YouTube and watch like I don't know, something political, and then you start looking at the recommendations feed, and it's just like, oh Lord, like I could see what you're doing, but like it doesn't surprise me that people get super inflamed just from watching YouTube, because the algorithm is trying to keep you watching, and what better way to keep you watching than by showing you something that's just like, it's all burning to the ground, and then it's like that old Bill Hicks joke, and then you look outside and you're just like, well, I mean, it's mostly kind of fine.
Everything's fine, yeah. Or mostly fine, yeah. There's a lot of weird shit going on nowadays, but because here's the thing about this question that's very strange to me is that like everyone believes in compromise. Like there's certain beliefs that, of course, that I said, I'm speaking for all the millennials at this point. There are certain beliefs that we will stand by, which is that Nazis are bad. We will totally stand by that. There's not a compromise on that one. But the thing is, we compromise all the time. Like, my roommate has a college degree, and he compromises in the fact that he has a shitty job.
Right.
That, like, he's not... Like, he has to compromise in the fact that he has to take whatever he can get. Like, the same with a lot of other people. Like, we compromise all the time.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But there are certain beliefs that, yeah, we will stand by. Like, Nazis are bad. Don't be shitty to each other kind of thing. That sort of thing. But you should totally have that belief kind of thing. Like, it's just what it is. Like, the answer is... We compromise all the time. Just we don't want to compromise on things that are fundamentally people should just believe in. Personally,
well, there's a difference between compromising when you need to and being expected to compromise always.
Yes,
right,
exactly.
Like, the thing is that if you dig, like, that's the thing about constructing a narrative, right? Is with any one person, it's like. It seems like, or any, not a person, but like a group of people. You can always find the extremes on one side or the other, and then pull those out, hold them up, and say, this is the representation of all of this one group, as opposed to just like stuff in the middle. And I think that it's become just increasingly easy to just get stuck over here, because of course you don't want to like. If you have friends that fundamentally disagree with you about a thing, I'm even going to say politics, I'm just saying anything, right? Yeah. Like, let's say, Michael, you and I like anime, right? Let's say you have a friend from high school, it's your friend on Facebook, and every time you post about anime, they're just like, oh, fuck those baby cartoons. You still watch that dumb shit? Like, go outside. And, like, this person may be fine on other things, but you probably don't want to listen to them, like fuck with you about anime every single time. So maybe you like unfriend them or mute them or create a list of things and you cut them out. And then as that time goes on, you create a group of people who are not fucking jabbing at the things you like with a stick every time you say something. Yeah. And then suddenly it seems like, you've become a lot more insular, and so have those other people. They've got their own things going on.
I try to be pretty open with what I have on there.
Yeah.
I have one friend who's like, I'm using quoties for friend because he's an old coworker.
Yeah.
Who very much voted for Trump and is hella like has the worst like opinions about certain things. Mm-hmm. But he's there to like keep me in the loop of weird shit that's going on that side kind of thing. He's a good guy somewhat. Like, it's the whole reason I still think of him as a friend kind of thing. But every now and then he'll post something that's just like, oh, God, that is just the worst kind of thinking. But people call him out on it all the time, so.
Yeah. I personally have come to a conclusion over the last, say, call it 3 weeks to a month. I really don't think, it's not a conclusion. It's not a how to live your life type of thing. This is it was like the 2 episodes ago in the Crack podcast, there was this metaphor that the Jason Pargin guy that I like had, where he was like, if you moved from living by yourself in a house into a house where you had 30 roommates and there were no walls, it would be horrible. Now, if you lived in that house for like 10 years, you would develop a lot of ways to like make the horror show less.
Yeah.
But that his point is that we have never been in a society that has this amount of people shitting on your favorite thing or having to look at so many people's opinions every day, right? Every day. So many different people, and a lot of them, you may know some of them, but then you may not know your friends' friends that are commenting on your friend's comment on your, because they saw your post because your friend commented on it, and now your friends' friends are commenting. And like, I'm still able to think back to a time when the people that I talked to were my friends. They were my physical friends. They were not people I've never met before.
Yeah, and if somebody bumped it, like, ended up hearing it, it was usually just some random dude,
right,
in, like, the corner. Like, it was never just like a whole fucking like 12 chunks of people kind of thing.
Yeah, and I got to tell you that having lived my life like that, when I was younger, I went to parties and stuff, right? And so sometimes you get into a debate, but
Yeah.
the other thing is that when it comes to face-to-face, there's always a possibility that somebody may punch you. So people tend to be on a little bit better behavior and like...
They're more willing to compromise in that conversation.
Exactly. So I still remember what life was like then when it was like, local news, the newspaper, you're getting your stuff from very limited sources, the amount of social contacts that you have with other people. Even if you are like a socialite, like a butterfly, you're out there like dating, going to clubs or doing stuff like that, you're still getting a minuscule amount of the interaction with other people that you're getting with the internet, and that interaction is like you can end up with getting this weird idea about like what quote unquote people are like.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're constantly being shown terrible examples of people that you may not want to know.
Because the thing is, like, when we talked about last time, I don't remember if we talked about it on mic or not, was that it's a double-edged sword, because you find yourself you look at people in a different light entirely, because the example from before, when we're going out talking to certain people, so that's why sometimes people can become kind of bigoted on accident.
Yeah,
like, because they only get like the small sample of a group of people kind of thing. Like, for instance, like if somebody lived in like in Ohio or something, where the population of Mexican Americans is a lot smaller, they're going to have a weirder kind of thoughts on that, because within a 20-mile radius, there's like maybe like 10 of them kind of thing. Whereas it's the opposite here, where we have like maybe a different kind of thought process on somebody who speaks French or something, because there's not really anybody here.
Hey, I will call out Austin. Austin is a white as hell town.
Yes.
Like, Austin is very white. Like, we do not have as many people of color in this town as a lot of other places.
Yeah, which, like, I think it was one of the first things I noticed when I moved out here.
Yeah.
Because before that I was living in Kyle, and there's quite a few of them. I'd visit San Marcos. There's a shit ton of them in San Marcos.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But Austin is very strange in certain areas kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to that sort of thing.
I didn't know it for a long time. I mean, until the internet. So then there you go. Good stuff on the internet as well.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I think that... I don't know. I don't think that millennials...
We don't have the rails on this one.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think that they're anti-compromise or anything. It's just that, there's also a thing that has happened, and I feel it too, where you've been alive for, a certain amount of time, right? You've been alive for 20 or 30 years, and you've just seen the same problem, and nobody ever wants to do anything about it. And you're like, hey, why don't we do something about this problem? And they're just like, oh, maybe we could do this one thing that doesn't make any difference. And you're just like, no, I want to do like the real stuff. And just like, oh, you don't want to compromise.
You don't
like,
want to do that.
We don't want to do that. So I don't know. Again, I have different bugaboos about this than other people.
Whole other thing.
And I come, like, I'm realizing more and more that I don't entirely I don't think that everybody should put down their phones. I don't want to yell at people, but I kind of like the amount of isolation that I don't live on the internet, even though I have this website and this show.
Kind of have to at the same time.
Yeah, but I'm glad that I, for the most part of my weeks, I spend a lot of time talking with like you and Amanda and John and Matt Frank and all those people that come over and I have face-to-face conversations as opposed to just doing most of it over the internet. So, no. Is my answer. Let's see. This next one comes in from Chris. Chris says, hey, Jeff, Michael, quick question. I've been playing some Injustice 2 online. Normally when I play that game in practice mode or pretty much any game in competitive or any competitive multiplayer game, I can play it well because I don't suffer from sweaty palms when gaming. But almost every time I play the game versus someone, my palms immediately get drenched in sweat, and my gameplay drastically suffers, and I often miss combos. Sorry, I kind of mangled that. I was trying to condense it. Basically, when he plays offline, no sweaty palms.
Yeah.
Plays online, sweaty palms. Do sweaty palms ever affect you? Any ideas how to overcome it? I've tried washing my hands and using hand sanitizer, but it doesn't help. Any other gamer symptoms you've ever suffered, and how'd you get through it? Like itchy eyes, cramped hands, dizziness, sore wrist, carpal tunnel, wearing a VR headset and falling or running into something. Speaking of VR, Jeff, are you or someone going to play the Five Nights at Freddy's VR game? It would get lots of hits, and you can make it a Patreon exclusive. Please! Thanks a bunch. Keep raging on. That's from Chris. Let's take that second part first. I will not be playing the Five Nights at Freddy's VR game.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I volunteer for tribute.
Okay.
Mostly so to see what would happen.
Because I already don't like those games when you're playing them on a screen, let alone having a 3-dimensional fucking animatronic jump up in your face and scream at you.
I know it will freak me the fuck out.
Go to hell. Like, here's the thing.
I will do it for Rage Select.
I don't like being scared. I just don't. I find it to be unpleasant.
That's
and
fair.
Some people are just like, oh, I have fun. I get scared. Woo. And I'm just like, no, I get like a very visceral, like, fight for your life reflex. And I'm just like, fuck. Like, I don't deal well with stress. And those games really freak me out because they're designed to. I much prefer just to watch Matt Pat talk about the lore behind them and not to.
It's got legit lore, guys.
I mean, it's got
legit
3 books.
Really?
3 like novels that apparently factor into the story.
I had no idea.
If you watched Game Theory do Five Nights at Freddy's?
Time.
Holy shit, man.
I did when like the first 3 were out.
Yikes.
That dude came out with so many games in like a year. It was fucking crazy.
Scott Cawthon. You know the best part, Jim Sterling had a thing about Scott Cawthon where before Five Nights at Freddy's, Scott Cawthon was trying to make children's games.
He made a lot of Christian games, actually.
Yeah, and they looked like the models, and one of the comments that people had was like, this is not for children, these things are scary as fuck.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay, all right, well, horror games then, I suppose.
Yeah, I think I saw Funhouse actually play one of them. It's like
one of the old ones.
Yeah, it was like an RPG basically.
Yeah,
and the character models are like, these are kind of horrifying.
Oh, wait, was it the Five Nights at Freddy's RPG?
No, it was an RPG it was a Christian like RPG thing.
Oh,
where like you would fight like there were sins or something.
Okay,
or something like, but they were like really weirdly designed, and it was like, this is actually kind of creepy looking.
Yeah,
it was just fucking dumb as hell, but it was interesting that the way he designed these things.
Sweaty palms?
I do get sweaty palms. Especially in fighting games, because I kind of have almost the same issue that he does when it comes to like, if I do it offline, it's not so bad. But I think the reason for it is that your body just starts getting like your adrenaline starts going higher and higher because you realize you're fighting another guy and you have to figure out like the mind game part of it.
Right. It's different than just wailing on AI.
Yeah, because when you're wailing on AI, you're just like, the AI is dumb. I can basically do almost anything and just beat the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Whereas with a guy, you're just like, oh shit, this dude probably knows every possible thing I'm just about to do, and I got to make sure I counter that kind of thing.
Like anticipation and fear, right? That like this person, you gotta step it up for this person. It's not just like you're just kind of playing a game on autopilot and you're just like, all right,
yeah, exactly,
blah 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 blah. Whereas here you're just like, all right, I gotta fucking knuckle down and like bring my A game.
It's that moment where you sit upright in your chair kind of thing.
Yep,
because you're like, shit's about to go down.
Hunch forward on the couch.
Exactly.
Get a little closer to the TV.
Shit's happening at that point.
Yeah.
I have never really found a way past that, though, really, other than just try to focus as best as you can.
It happens a little bit for me, but I only really notice it. Between, like, when I'm actually doing the fighting. It doesn't. I don't really get it. And then, like, wipe your hands on your pants and then just like go for it.
Yeah.
You probably do like what pool players do, right? You take like a chalk.
Oh yeah.
Get a chalk bag.
Sort of like.
And kind of
yeah, bowlers do that too. Actually, like they make actual like little like
or
things.
Gymnasts do that as well, right?
Yeah. It's like a chalk that you just it's like a powder basically.
You put chalk dust on your hands, and the chalk dust absorbs the sweat, so it keeps your hands drier. If that's what you need, that's what you need, right?
Yeah, like I said, bowling shops will actually sell like. It just looks like it looks almost like a beanbag, basically.
Yeah.
With just a little bit of dust on. You can actually use those for that sort of thing. I've never done that specifically for that, but I did it for bowling all the time back when I was younger.
I used to do it for pool. They have the little, it's like a little salt lick. You just put it on your fingers to keep the tops of your fingers smooth so you can get the stick running through them nice and smooth.
For other things, I have had instances where my hands will just start, like, hurt. The inside part of my hand will just start hurting real bad on an arcade stick.
Okay.
Mostly. So I find controllers a lot easier to do that with for longer periods of time. But I have wore braces here and there.
I've had a few run-ins with kind of mild carpal tunnel with playing like a Devil May Cry or some kind of like really stressful action game, and then when you get done, you realize that you've been like death gripping the controller for 20 minutes, and you're just like,
yeah. Most people when they relax their hands, it's always like flat, but with mine, once I relax, they immediately crunch into like a half fist almost.
Yeah,
because of how often I play video games. Like this is one right now.
Okay,
this is how my hands relax. People can't see it, but basically I'm cupping my hands.
Yeah,
by default.
See, I do this with my hands. Nobody can see that. You can imagine. Use your imagination.
Yeah, use your imagination.
Use your imagination.
It's all completely flat.
The other one that happens to me a lot of times is that again, I have back problems now, probably because of weight. But I will be sitting in my chair here and kind of like lean forward, like hunched forward and playing a game, and then I don't really realize while I'm playing the game that I'm doing it. And then when I get done, I go to stand up, and I'm just like, oh. Which doesn't happen quite as much because I've been trying to get better about, putting a pillow behind my back and like, taking breaks and stuff like that. But
yeah, I'm trying to do the same thing because I actually fell on my back when I was 18.
Yeah.
And so I still have some back issues, but I went to a chiropractor not too long ago, so that has alleviated quite a bit of that.
Yeah.
So
not too bad though. Not too bad. I used to get really a lot. I'll tell you when I get really nervous, or it hasn't happened in a long time, but if it's so strange, this happens. So I have have less so than I used to, but I stage fright. But everybody has stage fright, right?
Yeah.
We're talking real shaky, real nervous. When I was in high school, I actually took a speech class where you to just like give speeches.
I know in Texas that's actually a requirement because I had to do the same thing.
Yeah, and it helped with it, but I gotta tell you. See, I did that and it was okay, and it made me a little bit less anxious about standing up in front of people. By the way, if you have anxiety, taking a class where if you get up and give a presentation in front of people, even though there's nothing at stake, like it will at least like you will get through it, and then like if you have to do it a bunch of times, it will probably make you a little bit less anxious. But what's the statistic, right? More people are afraid of public speaking than dying.
Yeah.
So, like...
They're more afraid of doing the eulogy than being in the coffin.
Right.
It's an old Seinfeld gag, actually.
Right. But so the spill cons were terrifying because it was a whole theater full of people, and they were ostensibly there, and it was just like, what am I going to think of anything? What am I going to fucking do? So those were pretty terrifying. In fact, talk about sweaty palms. Playing when we played Skyrim for that last SpillCon in front of people, or we played at RTX and we played 50 Cent Blood on the Sand.
Oh jeez.
And that was really like I don't know, like I still have a touch of that, even though the internet and whatever, but like I want my videos to get 10,000 hits, but like I don't want to talk to 25 people like in person.
No, I gotcha. Like I think when I did speech in high school, I remember the first time I had to do it, I had the paper and my arm was shaking like violently.
Yeah. And
I was just like I had to like grab my arm so often.
Yep.
Like people were watching me like is he okay? And I'm just like
Yeah.
It was crazy as shit, but I haven't done something like that. Like I haven't done the arm shake in a long time since then, but
it really helped strangely enough to have Jason around because Jason Murphy's so goddamn like doesn't give a fuck charismatic that it could just be like, good. I could just be like, I could be the Ed McMahon to Jason's Carson. That's a weird reference that probably not many people get, but anyway,
it's the Andy Richter to Conan O'Brien if anybody wants to know now.
There you go.
But that's the closest thing.
But yeah, that was more of a physical thing than most video games. But then I played so many fucking video games.
Serenity now, guys. Serenity now, insanity.
Let's see. This is one I thought that I would give you a chance to weigh in on, because I think I did a little bit of myself last week. This person doesn't have a name on their thing. I'm going to call them doop. I'm going to call you Brigadier. The Brigadier writes in and says, hello, Jeff. I would explain what happened in my brain to get there, but
Okay, then.
it's not worth it.
I'll just let it go.
Hello, Jeff and Michael. Have you seen Amazon's The Boys? If so, what did you think about how it portrays a world with superheroes? Keep up the great work. Thanks from the Brigadier. Sign your name after you put thanks, and then I won't have to make up a dumb name. Or maybe they probably like the fact that I make up the dumb names.
I don't know how you got to Brigadier, to be honest.
I can tell you when we're not recording because it requires talking about the person's actual name.
Okay, then.
So, did you watch The Boys?
I did not, actually.
Oh, well, son of a bitch. Son of a bitch.
But I do know enough about The Boys, comic book wise.
Yeah.
So,
well, I thought it did a good job. I thought somebody pointed out to me that it was very interesting, kind of that The Boys has a very anti-corporate theme, with the Vought Corporation being the one that runs all these psychopathic superheroes, and it's like by Amazon on Amazon,
which is amazing.
Which is a little like.
I do know about the airplane sequence, though.
Oh yeah,
which is it's just a thing that happened. But I think it's one of those commentaries on the fact that it's like, yeah, Superman Returns with that plane is kind of bullshit, because realistically, that's kind of what would have happened.
It's funny because I was actually thinking about The Boys because I told you this, but last night I watched a bunch of CGI movies, and one of them was Megamind, and I kind of forgotten in Megamind that there's the whole thing where he makes the Jonah Hill character into a superhero, and then he turns out to be like a
crazy
psychotic Superman. And I think it was interesting to kind of watch that because they have their battle, and he defeats Megamind. Megamind's like, oh, that was great. All right, take me to jail. And he's like, jail? I'm going to fucking murder you. He's like, wait, no, you can't do that. Like, that's not how we do things here. But
Megamind's great, by the way.
I think there's okay. Superheroes are cool. I like superheroes, but like you don't want superheroes in real life.
Not really.
Like especially, I don't know. Like I think that if we had people with powers like they have on The Boys, it would be closer to The Boys than to
like
Richard Donner's Superman. Yeah, like or Brightburn. I watched Brightburn recently,
It would
it would be kind of difficult. It is interesting though in that series because they don't have the same character, or there's a character that's like them in the comics, but it's a guy and it's a very different character. But Elizabeth Shue plays like kind of the corporate middleman who like has to handle the superheroes and Homelander in general. And there's like a lot of kind of interesting scenes where it's like, this guy could rip your face off like in the blink of an eye and probably wouldn't feel anything about it. But it's like you have to maintain a kind of like you're going to do what the fuck I say persona with them.
Yeah.
But like you can't cower or else you're not going to have the authority. And there's like a lot of weird stuff going on there. Like I really like the changes that they made to The Boys because in the comic it was a lot of just like, look how perverted and fucked up these superheroes are.
It's very gross.
Let's beat their asses. Ha ha. Whereas in this one, there was a kind of a lot more, I don't know. I should tell you what happens at the end of season 1 of The Boys because it's just like such a departure from what happens in the comic book that it really makes me, I really hope they have a season 2. But I think that it was interesting because it was something that was not the Marvel universe, which I think is fine. It's fine, but I'm a little marveled out, right?
Yeah.
But it's not Zack Snyder. Like, it's dark, but it's not like, if there's even a 1% chance that Superman could ever do anything, then we have to murder him.
So stupid.
Why did you say that name? Like, it's not that over grim dark, like 90s Rob Liefeld version of superheroes.
Yeah.
It's more like clever about it. Or not clever, but just like, I think like it's much more realistic about like what would happen if there was, if you gave a person that amount of personal power, it would change them. And then, like, what does that do to a person? And what does it do to all of us? So, I don't know. It's interesting. I liked it a lot more than I think it's a lot more palatable in the comics. But
which is good. I think it's a shame that Amazon decided to no longer make The Tick as well.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they could have done, a great thing having both of those kinds of shows. Because they're both, criticism about superheroes in certain ways.
Yeah.
Like they're both more realistic in certain ways. Like the Tick is the whimsy of what would happen if certain people were good guys, whereas the opposite,
right?
What The Boys is the cynical kind of view of the world.
It's like I think I'm about ready for. So I was sick of it. Okay, so when I look at my own personal history, it's like what grimdark 90s, right?
Yeah,
and then post that we had a lot of like deconstruction in the comics and in movies and stuff like that. Not in movies really so much because it was just like with Spider-Man and what Blade, Elektra,
X-Men,
X2, kind of but in the comics, I feel like there was a fair amount of deconstruction going on in things like Invincible or like The Authority or even the and then you have the deconstruction of the deconstruction with like What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way,
exactly.
which is Superman versus the Authority, which is like
it's really good.
The deconstruction of superhero and I was cool with that for a while. Like I like the way that Warren Ellis does it, and in some ways Garth Ennis as well does good like superhero deconstruction stuff. I don't like what Zack Snyder does because it's just like mean.
Yeah.
Like Zack Snyder doesn't seem like he's deconstructing. It seems like he just fucking hates superheroes.
He's just mean about it.
And then for movies we got like Watchmen became a movie, which was also a deconstruction. And it's like I felt like at a while there I was starting to get real sick of the dark and gritty deconstructions and superheroes and stuff like that. And I was ready to kind of go back to like the golden age, right? And that Marvel has done a lot of that,
which like I think that's the reason it worked as well as it did at that point, because we were in the deconstruction age for so long, with the Dark Knight, Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises. Like it was still trying to be the realistic kind of thing,
like Unbreakable.
We were just a lot of us were missing the days of like Superman the movie kind of levels of whimsy.
Well, you could have a superhero story that was about a superhero, not about like. Then it wasn't
about the
boys.
darkness within them, kind of thing.
Right.
And that's when Iron Man showed up. It was a whole, it was back to like the sort of golden age kind of feel, like, or silver age more than anything.
Yeah.
And that stuck around for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic. And then eventually, after Endgame ended, I was like, that's great, that's cool. I'm really glad this happened, but I kind of want something a little different now.
I kind of want something like it's exhausting when everything has teeth. But then it feels like for a while there it was kind of toothless, except for the DC stuff that was all mean.
Yeah, it was mean, like kick you in the face,
dark and mean and edgy, and
for like no reason.
Look at Harley Quinn's tight pants, and the Joker's like a weird Russian gangster.
We're gonna shoot Jimmy Olsen in the face.
Yeah,
it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like it was mean for like meanness sake is what it was.
Or it was like it's a thing that I used to complain about all the time where it was like, oh, look how dark and violent this is. Isn't this realistic? Isn't this it's not your father's superhero? And it's like my father's superhero was the Dark Knight. So like, come on guys, what are you talking about?
It's really weird. It's just it made no fucking sense.
But then what's weird is that like they did that and I didn't feel like it worked, but now like post Endgame I'm real into. I really want to see that Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah,
like I want to see something now that's weird and different. Or like you can even make a good case that Spider-Verse is a good deconstruction of superheroes.
It absolutely is. It's a deconstruction of a superhero origin too.
Yeah,
like to the point
like
where
Spider-Man.
Yeah, you see the guy's origins over and over again, and the deconstruction of being what it takes to be a hero too. Somewhat.
Yep. Both his parents are alive.
Yeah, Miles Morales didn't need to lose almost anybody except for his uncle. But even then, that's somewhat like that's even part of a joke at one point.
Yep,
like it's par for the course.
And like some of the and I think that's why some of the Netflix stuff worked, but then some of it didn't. Like getting gritty with Daredevil in season 1 worked because it's like, okay, we've got the MCU over here with fucking Chris Evans in a bright blue costume throwing a shield at people, and then I got a guy with a scarf tied around his head just really brutally kicking the shit old boy style out of a bunch of guys in a hallway. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then Jessica Jones comes out and it's like, oh my God, this is fucking Doctor Who's a rapist. Like, what is going on here?
He's so good in that show. And the second season of Daredevil was another kind of deconstructive sort of thing about with the way the Punisher was.
Yeah, a little bit, but that one got a little bit off the rails because it was just like, it's the shrapnel in his head making him into a crazy person, not just that Frank Castle is a sociopath. And I'm like, I don't know about that, you guys.
Well, the thing is, like the Netflix shows, lost what they were trying to do pretty quickly.
Well, once the hand came in, the second half of Daredevil season 2 was where it all started to fall down because it's like now everybody's got to fight the hand, except for Luke Cage, I guess. Except then he did fight the hand.
And then he did eventually in the Defenders.
And then Iron Fist. Oh, did you want to know more about the hand? Here's a whole series about the hand. It's like, oh God, the generic ninjas, get the fuck out of here with this shit.
Man, it was not great.
But Elektra, guys, Elektra. So like, yeah, I'm after the end of Endgame, which was very much like if you made something like Star Wars, but then went on for 10 years and culminated in a thing, and it's not the. I don't think any of the Marvel movies are exactly challenging you with their deep questions about what is it to be a person.
Yeah.
Now I'm about ready. I'm about ready for some challenges, and I think The Boys is a good step in that direction because it's not as unbreakable levels of realistic. Like you still have guys in an American flag costume flying around. It's like, but we're still talking about like what does it mean? So anyway, let's take some Discord questions because we're getting a little bit long here. Get Michael and I talking about superheroes.
It does not take much.
Septum Sin writes in and says, "Dear Rage Lords, what is a movie and or game that you feel is good that no one else ever talks about?" A lot of people talk about hidden gems and thought you might know a few. Your Patreon Septum Sin versus the world. You got a hidden gem? I don't think we should spend too long on this one, but some hidden gems. Jewels under the ground.
I don't know about hidden gems, but there's some games that had a lot of potential that I still feel are fun.
Yeah.
That I think should be given a second chance, but did need a lot of work still.
Okay.
Like Dark Void.
Okay.
I still think Dark Void was a solid game. If it just needed a couple things in it that would have made it a really fun game, like a lock-on button for fucking Christ's sakes. That I don't know why they didn't do that part of it, but it had a lot of potential to be a great little franchise of this kind of Rocketeerish type series, and it would have been a lot of fun if it would have kept going.
I always have an answer for this because I've talked about this game for a long time. I don't think I've ever put it on Rage Select, and I've never. I think it's available. I think you can get it on Good Old Games. I think it's on Steam. I think I bought it on Steam. It's a game called Hostile Waters Antaeus Rising. It's a game that came out back in the olden days, and the premise of the game is that the world is at peace. Nanotechnology has created this utopian society, but then a cabal of like despots and corporate CEOs and people who have been like thrust out of power decide that they're going to start doing terrorist attacks to destabilize the world economy, and in order to stop them, they raised this carrier, this like aircraft carrier, which was the last carrier from these like cyber wars. It's the bottom of the ocean, and they send you off to this archipelago of islands where these guys are located to stop them and foil their evil plans. So it is a RTS game where you build units out of this aircraft carrier, and then you send them out. You build like tanks and helicopters and little resource guys, but you can also directly control any of those things. So it's like you can make a helicopter and send it over to do a run on a base, and it'll do okay, but you can also take control of it and just play it like a third-person action game. But then you also get these like personality chips from dead people, and you have to put those people inside of the different things. And so like one of them will be like a helicopter guy. And if you put him in a tank, he will be terrible at it. But if you put him in a helicopter, then he'll be badass at it. It's got all this voice talent in it from like British voice actors. Like Tom Baker does the voiceover for it.
Really?
Like fucking Doctor Who does the voiceover for it. And the whole game was written by Warren Ellis. And like,
wow, really?
At about mission number 5, like things kind of go sideways and the whole game kind of changes a little bit. I've never heard anybody talk about this game.
Yeah, wow.
But it's incredible and I love it. Like it's like from the 90s, so it's not going to hold up super well in the graphics department. And nobody really knows that much. I've never heard anybody else talk about it ever in my entire life.
I've never heard of this game.
Warren Ellis has actually written a bunch of games, which is funny because I think he wrote, there was like a Resident Evil in the Snow, like PlayStation 2 game.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the name of it.
That he also did.
He writes a lot of like interesting stuff.
Yeah,
he's the one behind the Castlevania series right now, right?
Yes. So it's a really strange, it's a really weird game, and I don't know. I don't know. I've never heard anybody else ever talk about it. Like, I've never heard a single other person ever bring this game up. And I remember I've played through it like 4 or 5 times because it's also a strategy game where eventually you get to a point where you have to like start like deploying units and making them do stuff. But it's a real weird one. It's an oldie. The problem is that for most of the hidden gem games, I have to go back so far because like, if there was ever a game that people where they were like, oh, that game was a lot better. Like, I've been talking about how Titanfall 2 is great for so long that everybody knows what I think of Titanfall 2, right? I don't have to tell you Titanfall 2 is great.
Yeah, some of the ones that I would consider like hidden gems, they're not really all that hidden gem anymore. Like, they're all cult favorites, like God Hand for the PS2. I thought Killer 7, Brutal Legend. Brutal Legend's amazing.
Yeah,
and like, but yeah, a lot of these games have cult followings now. Like No More Heroes 1 and 2. I adore those games. Mad World World was a fantastic game on the Wii.
So just everything that Suda 51 has ever made.
Kind of. Mad World was a game
that was Platinum.
Was one of the Platinum's first games, and its soundtrack is also fucking amazing. The same with I think Anarchy Reigns is a lot better than a lot of people gave it credit for when it came out.
Yeah.
And it also has a great soundtrack as well. The only, like, Anarchy Reigns is another one of those games, like, with a little bit of tweaking would have been a fantastic fucking game that would have been loved forever kind of thing.
Oh, there's Virginia. We played all the way through Virginia on Sunday stream.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a walking simulator with, like, a weird crime component. There's no dialogue. It's all, like, kind of just...
Yeah, I remember hearing about that one.
It's really interesting. I'm just looking through lists of stuff. A lot of this is... See, I hear Oxenfree is really good, but I've never played Oxenfree. There's that Dragon Cancer.
Her Story, I think, is one of those games like that. I think is a lot of like it's just really interesting.
Yeah,
and I think is a little underrated in what it was. And it was an interesting idea for something.
Yeah,
that I think was pulled off well. Honestly,
there's Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time. That was a really interesting game. That's the one where it's like you're inside of a ship and then you play it co-op, and so there's 2 little guys. And you have to, like, one person drives the ship and the other person does the guns.
Oh, okay.
It was really interesting. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff out there, but like
hard Suda 51, Shadows of the Damned as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hard pressed. I'm just looking at somebody's like Steam list of stuff. See, here's Ori and the Blind Forest, but like everybody knows that game is cool, right? Yeah. And then there's Pathologic, but I actually really wouldn't recommend Pathologic because it's an interesting game, but it's one of those Eastern European, like, Stalker style, super unforgiving games with, like, really difficult mechanics.
Alan Wake, I think, for some people, was a hidden gem for a while.
Yeah.
Same with Psychonauts for a while, but now they're still getting a sequel, so everyone knows about that one now, too.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, that's another one. Have you ever heard of this one, Majesty? It was a...
Yeah, actually.
It was it was kind of like an RTS, but it was like the game plays itself, and you play the king, and so it's like this top-down game where you'll just like put a bounty to be like, I'll give you $100 if you build a house over there, and then somebody will go do it. I don't know. It was a really interesting kind of weird game.
I think the Toomba games are, another one that also now has a really good following.
Yeah.
Blasto, I think, was interesting. Old PS1 game. Same with the Jersey Devil.
Okay.
I think those were pretty fun.
Let's see. Inner Slicey writes in and says, Dear Rage Person, since the StarCraft Sunday stream, I've been looking at a lot of different sci-fi. Most of the mainstream stuff is pretty similar. Low-tech race, the bio race, the high-tech race, or the world we have now, just with future tech. So my question is, what's the most interesting sci-fi universe or one that does something really interesting? Right now, the Warframe universe is really doing it for me, and that's from Inter Slicey. Good sci-fi universes? What do you think?
I don't know about like as intricate that he wants, though, is the thing. Because a lot of my favorite sci-fi universes are very straightforward. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of Halo, as we've talked about.
No,
it's
shocking.
What I really enjoyed about Halo is the fact that it feels like a normal natural progression compared to like we found the ancient races thing and it made us super powerful, whatever. It's like Halo just feels like. We discovered AIs and we figured enough to get to certain places.
Yeah.
And then they met alien races that were hella good at murdering us kind of thing. Like it felt like a natural progression of like actual like human history kind of thing.
Okay.
Like I thought Mass Effect was interesting because of the idea of it. It feels like the midpoint between Star Trek kind of thing.
Okay.
Of like proving to other races that we're not like a terrible fucking group of people kind of thing.
Okay.
And that's what I enjoyed about that. And Star Trek Next Generation, just in general, I think is interesting because it's all peaceful.
As far as, I mean, like, obviously I like a lot of them, but I mean, like, this is kind of cliche, so I'm not pulling out some obscure thing you've never heard of. But like, when you talk about unique science fiction universes, man, Warhammer 40K is strange. Like the way that they have the big cathedral ships and like the Inquisition and all this weird Victorian like religion and oh hail the God Emperor.
Yeah, by the Emperor. You know, like that doesn't really happen that often in sci-fi stuff.
And like the heretics and like just the regular military are all these like weird. They're like Russian World War II Russian military guys like commissars, and they like will kill their own troops to get them to move forward. And then you've got all the Space Marines that are like these genetically engineered 9 foot tall hulking weird emperor clones.
You got like chainsaw swords. The shit's fucking crazy, guys.
Chainsaw swords. I mean the orcs, the way that they work is weird. There's like 8 different like bio entries on the orcs. Like there's this thing that I love about the orcs that is like the WOG, right?
Yeah.
And it's that nothing the orcs make actually functions mechanically. They're all low-grade psychics that believe that their tech will work. And so they basically just put a bunch of trash together, and then what they're actually doing is psychically making like their tanks move, because they don't actually physically work, but they're all just, they don't know that they're psychics, so they just believe in the WOG enough to make these mechs work, even though they're just a pile of garbage.
That's amazing still, guys. Come on.
There was another thing that I read about the orcs where it's like when they die, that orcs are like plant-based. So what happens is when they die, their blood seeps into the ground and new orcs grow. And so that's why you can never get rid of an orc extermination, is because they just grow new orcs under the ground, and then suddenly 5 years later a bunch of orcs break out, put a bunch of trash together and kill everybody that they find. Like I love I think it was in the Space Marine game where it was like you go to this planet that's being overrun by the orcs, and then like every new mission there's a view of the planet and a map that shows you where the orc infestations are, and they never get any smaller, Michael. They only get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then that's not to even mention the fact that you've got, you know, the Eldar, who are weird space elves, right?
Yeah.
You've got the Necrons, who are like what, undead robots? I mean, go fuck yourself. You're either alive or you're a robot. You can't be both. You've got the Gene Stealers, which I mean, like, I'm pretty sure I've done the research on this, and like the races from StarCraft are ripped off of Warhammer 40K. You got the Gene Stealers of the Zerg, and the Protoss of the Eldar, and then the Space Marines are. I mean, look at the pauldrons. All right, somebody played Warhammer 40K. I mean, they are rednecks in Warhammer 40K.
Yeah.
But then you've got like, you know, the Tau, which are like these weird like Asian robot race, and like I don't really even know that much about them. And then of course Chaos, right? So there's the whole thing where like in order to travel the universe, you have to go through the warp. That's how you go. Imagine if every time they went to warp speed in Star Trek, the place they were going through was this dimension of demons that was trying to like corrupt everybody on the ship, and that if the whispers got into the brains of the people, they would turn themselves into these crazy John Carpenter Hellraiser Cenobites. Jesus. And so that's why they have the Inquisition, who burns the heretics if they ever find them. But then like the machine class, like the servitors, take like the skulls of the dead and put robots inside of them. So like you get these little skull bots that float around and do stuff. And then there's like all this weird shit. There's one grouping of Space Marines.
These are all still the same universe.
Yeah. None of this. All this is the same universe. There's one grouping of Space Marines. It's called like the Lost Legion, and they've got black armor with like white skulls and crossbones all over it. And like I've read a whole Wikipedia entry where it's like their ship was lost in the warp, but they didn't get corrupted by chaos. And so every so often you can actually play this in the tabletop game. Their Legion on a certain type of roll will just appear on the battlefield, kill everybody who's not a Marine and then disappear back into the warp and nobody knows where the fuck they are. There's like Valkyries and the Sisters of Battle and all this shit. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. When the Space Marines die, they take the brains out and they put them into the big Destructo robot guys. There's like dead Space Marines in a big mech suit just fucking tearing shit up in the Devastators. And then you've got like the Terminator armor, which is like Space Marine plus, where like 3 Terminators can just kill millions. And then, chainsaw swords. And then the fact that they've all got this weird kind of like half, almost like Nazi, like they've got a lot of like eagle, like golden eagles.
A lot of weird
and
shit.
The big commissar hats for the Imperial Army. It's so weird, right? And the fact that it's still niche, that like, we had somebody who wrote in about, do you think they could make a Warhammer 40K TV show? And I'm like, I don't think they can.
I think
it's
they could.
too weird.
They can make an anime.
Yeah,
pretty easily.
It's so strange. It's so strange. Like just the Space Hulk stuff where it's like the gene stealers infest these derelict ships in the universe, and so Space Marines have to go into these big, they're dungeons. It's a dungeon crawl but on a big spaceship, and like the whole thing is based on these corridors where like only one Space Marine at a time can fit down a corridor, but then like the gene stealers all move around like the aliens from the movie Aliens, and then you get this weird chess-like game where, if you're in a hallway, only one person can shoot in front of you because the person behind you literally can't get their gun around the person to shoot them. It's interesting. That's one of my favorites, just because when you start saying stuff about it, you sound like a fucking insano. So, all right, we gotta go pretty quick because we're almost out of time. Dan K writes in and says, "Hey Jeff and Michael, easy one here. You've done so many puppet intros. Which ones are your personal favorites? In my opinion, Papercraft Hitler always gets me choking with laughter. Your little patron, Dan K." Thank you, Dan K. I think Papercraft Hitler is really funny, and apparently the internet may disagree with me a little bit. I don't know. I like Papercraft Hitler is just like a doofus that shows up and he's stupid. I want to do more Papercraft Hitler jokes. I thought the one that Amanda and I did for what was the video that we did where she threw her shoe at Papercraft Hitler?
It was the Wolfenstein one.
For Wolfenstein Youngblood. I rewatched that one and laughed at my own joke, which I'm not full of myself or anything, but I was just like, this one came out well. I don't know, Michael, you got any favorite intros? You started off as a fan of Rage.
Yeah, I was originally a fan of Rage. Actually, one of my all-time favorites to this day was for one of the Life is Strange ones, where it was you and Grant, and Grant was like, "I wonder if I have time reversing powers," and he punches you in the face, and the way he punches you in the face, and he goes, "Oh," when he does it, makes me laugh every fucking time.
Okay.
And then he does that motion when he's like trying to reverse time. We're like, "What the fuck?" They're like, "It didn't work." He's like, "No, you just punched me in the face and then went like this." It gets me every fucking time.
I think that, okay, so here's the ones that I remember. A lot of them are the ones that required additional work. Early on, there was another person that would do special effects for us, some effects work for us, who's not really around anymore. So the original Bee Jizz from Super Mario World, where Jason Puppet is jerking it, and then a bunch of particle effect bees literally come onto the screen. That one I really liked. He also made the same one that was when we did the first South Park game, and he literally made us into South Park characters.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
We were South Park characters, and he animated it just like flawlessly. And then I really liked the one when we did the original Titanfall, where Jason and I are introducing it, and then Brian Brushwood crashes through the ceiling, puts Jason Puppet under his shirt like he's a Titan, and then just starts boxing the air in a crazy Brian Brushwood's an insane person, just like I'm
a big fan of the Star Wars one where you guys are in the cantina.
That took me so long.
I laugh every fucking time.
It took me so long.
Right after Han shoots Greedo, and you're just like, he just fucking shot that guy.
Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, those work pretty well. There's the stuff, those took me so long, and there were just like a few. My favorite one is actually, my favorite of those, I like them all, but my favorite one is where Jason is Obi-Wan telling me in the trench run to close my eyes, and I'm like, close my eyes, and he's like, take off your pants, just do it, man, come on, it'll be cool.
There's so many great fucking intros, guys. Like the one where I don't remember what the game was, but you're about to play it and it just cuts to Matt running to your house.
It was a Godzilla game?
I think it was a Godzilla game or something. Because I think it's you and I don't remember who else the other one was, but it's just like, oh, we're gonna play this game, and it just cuts to Matt running.
Oh yeah,
to your house.
Yeah. I actually went outside behind my house to film that one, like Monty Python joke.
I laughed so fucking hard on that. Yeah, it's just like it caught me off guard. And then I think another one was a Call of Duty one, like he knocks on the door and you open it, and there's like a gun battle in the back. Or Brian's like,
Salisbury, I think.
Salisbury.
Yeah.
And you're just like, it's just like, what the fuck's happening? It's Call of Duty, bro. And just pulls out a gun and just walks in.
Yeah, there was another one that was like that when we first got that little toy gun, where it was Rainbow Six Siege, where Joe breaks in through the wall.
Oh yeah,
and,
that's right.
Extracts me or whatever. There was one of the Joe ones that I really liked was the original Rebel Galaxy, where it was like Joe was playing on a Guitar Hero guitar, like the ballad of Jeff the Space Pirate, and then it kept cutting back to me in a cockpit, and I was just like, yep, I'm in space, it's all right.
And there was another one that I really liked that I apparently you'd forgotten you'd done, which was really old one. It was for Halo Combat Anniversary, because you guys were making fun of if people don't know in that version of Halo, if you hit down on the D-pad, it goes to the original version of the game.
Oh yeah,
and so in that version, I don't even remember the guy's name anymore. It was Aaron.
Aaron, yeah,
Aaron. Like he was there with you. And it's like, oh, if you hit it, you can go back to old Rage Select, and it just cuts from the puppet to just actual you.
Oh,
and Aaron just gonna go, oh god, it's ugly.
Yeah, I think there was another one. It might have been that game that Grant and I played where you knock people's clothes off.
Oh yeah.
I know that there's been a gag at one point where somebody knocked Puppet Jeff's clothes off, and it was just my hand was naked Jeff, and I thought those were pretty good.
There's some amazing fucking intros.
I mean,
if you ever get a chance, just go back through some of them.
Yeah,
they're really fucking funny.
I thought that the Ragefinity Gauntlet one came out pretty good.
That one's amazing.
I mean, the thing is that recently I've been trying to make sure that we don't do intros unless they're fun and good. Like I thought the one where the Division 2 had a bunch of garbage piled up in my house was really funny. Like
that one was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of Photoshop work, but I mean, we did one today for No Man's Sky where it was kind of silly. And
I'm a big fan. Was it the Jump Force one when we exploded?
Oh yeah, you and Matt powered up.
Just pop. I laughed at that one. I watched that one multiple times even now.
There was the
Power Rangers one. I think is one of my all-time favorites.
Oh yeah, yep. We were out of the props
because when you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Nachos Belgrande. There was also when Grant and I did the Sniper Elite, and the guy shoots the bullet, and we're just standing out there, and it takes like a long time for it to finally hit us. That was good, and then that one had the outro, I think, on the Killing Hitler video where. We were like looking back on what we did that day, and I made like a montage of all the times that we killed Hitler because we were trying to shoot him in the testicle. Yeah. And so we shot him over and over and over and over and over again, that whole video. And I found like a nice little YouTube music clip for it. Yeah, I mean, there've been good stuff over the years. Like I
recently the one where Matt gets shot in Hitman was fucking amazing.
Oh, with the sniper
that
level?
One was amazing.
With the Port Hantu level. Yeah, that was good. Yep. Eggplant Jeff, I thought worked out really well.
Eggplant Jeff worked out pretty well.
The Yoshi ones where we got Papercraft Jeff. First,
I laughed so fucking hard on that one.
And
I saw it before you posted, and I was laughing for like a solid minute.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying. It's just the main issue is the ones that I put up recently I've really liked because I've been inspired to do them. The Sonic
one's really funny.
The Sonic audition tape, as well as me cursing at Matt as Sonic, were both really fun. yeah, I mean, I don't know.
There's a lot of really good ones, guys.
But then there's some where I went back and like looked at some of the ones where it was just like Jason and I for 20 seconds making a dumb joke in front of a yellow background, and then like, here's the video.
Yeah, those also exist, but they're fun still.
All right. Well, you know what? We've taken up enough time, and unfortunately, I've got to record more stuff tonight.
Whole lot of reminiscing.
Go back and watch any of those videos if you like. Patreon.com/Rage Slate. Michael, when you're not here, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on oneofus.net. I did a review for Angry Birds 2.
Yes.
As well as some RTX coverage. And I also accidentally introduced another Michael into the One of Us universe.
Oh, Jesus.
An old coworker of mine.
All right. Well, with that, we're done. We're done. Thanks everybody for listening. Go be a patron. We'll see you next week. Bye.